What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Diamond in the Rough podcast. Today, we're joined by Scan and Eric from YT, but before we get into it, as always, make sure you leave a like on this video. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. And if you're watching on YouTube, go follow us on Spotify. Little Diamond in the Rough on the go. Almost said Diamond on the Rough. That doesn't make any sense. And if you're listening on Spotify, when you have a chance, go hit that subscribe button on YouTube. You can see our pretty faces, give you a little wave. We also have social media, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at DIR Podcast. We're going to start using TikTok a little bit more, hopefully soon. We say that a lot, but that's the goal. We say it every time, but that's the goal.
I'd say we make Nick the TikTok intern or something like that.
I tried to make Nick the TikTok intern.
Follow me on Twitter at Eric over on YT as well, by the way.
There we go. I was just about to ask. Of course, my name is McMiller42. Right now, we're streaming this on my Twitch, so you can find me there at McMiller42. YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram are also at McMiller42, and on TikTok. Like I said, we're joined by TheScan on Twitter, big Yankees fan. We're talking about the AL East. So, Scan, where can we find you on all platforms?
Everywhere except for Instagram with TheScan without an underscore. If for some reason Instagram, you have to add the underscore in between the scan. Hey, someone took the name, so you know. We work with the cards we're dealt with, but yes, Scan everywhere. YouTube, TikTok, YouTube, all of it. You know how it is.
And Eric, is it Eric on YT at all your platforms?
It's Eric over on YT on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I don't really use Instagram yet, but and then on YouTube, it's literally just Eric.
Literally,
but I think the URL is also Eric over on YT, if I'm not mistaken. So I think you can still
send
find
it to Mick, and he'll put it in the description on YouTube.
Okay, perfect.
Because everyone knows that I do all the work for this podcast. But anyway, our two co-hosts.
Without a doubt. I'm not disputing that.
NMR Sports, where can we find you?
Oh my goodness, NMR Sports on Twitch and YouTube, and NMR Sports 30, much like Scan. I was cheated out of NMR Sports on Twitter and Instagram, so I just added 30 to it.
And NickTheriault, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Twitch at NickTheriault12, TheRiault. And you can also follow me on my new Instagram, TheriaultGaming12, TheRiault. 12.
12. All right, so we are. I'm taking the position of today's host because Nolan does unfortunately have to leave us here soon. Nolan, as always in our division previews, each one of us is going to take a team. Nolan's been tasked with hyping up the Baltimore Orioles in this one.
Tasked? You mean I have been given the opportunity to hype up the beautiful bastards, the Baltimore Orioles, man. I'm gonna go through their pitching staff real quick, and just stop me when you hear a name you recognize. Sean Armstrong, Paul Fry, Dean Kremer, Travis Lackins Sr., Jorge Lopez, John Means, Adam. I actually know that name. Adam Plutko, Max Sorler, I think. Tanner Scott, I know him. Cole Sulser, Dylan Tate, Cesar Valdez, Tyler Wells, Bruce Zimmerman. And then I skipped some of the well-known names in Matt Harvey, Wade LeBlanc, and I think that was it. I feel like I might have skipped a name or two. But anyways, what's that?
I think you missed John Means.
No,
Did you say John
Means?
I thought I said John Means.
All-star John Means, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, someone's got to make it. My God, dude, this pitching staff. Like, off the top of my head, dude, literally Tanner Scott's the only guy I feel like has potential to be a decent pitcher. You know, Matt Harvey has his best days behind him. He used to be a lights-out pitcher. I've heard of Wade LeBlanc. That's a good sign. And I think John Means is their opening day starter. So that's, I'm an Angels fan. I can't really talk about bad pitching, but I'm just going to say I'm glad I'm not an Orioles fan when it comes to this pitching staff. I know some of you guys are AL East fans, so I don't know if you guys have any more insight on some of these guys that I don't know about.
Nope, not really. You pretty much talked about it. I feel bad the fact that even Felix Hernandez couldn't even crack the Orioles squad. So
poor guy, man.
I feel like that might be the end of Felix. I think we've seen the last of him, unfortunately. It really is a shame too, because like Hall of Fame career like just cut short because he lost his velocity.
And waste his career in Seattle. That didn't help either.
Yeah.
Nope.
But I
No.
think as a Yankee fan, like I recognize, I shouldn't say, I'm not going to say a lot of those names, about half, which is impressive for an AL East team that I don't know half of your team. That's pretty bad. Voice crack. And yeah, no, I mean, the Orioles are just there so that the Yankees can break the home run record again this year. So that's pretty much what I have to say about their pitching.
Glaber Torres in particular against the
Exactly.
Orioles.
Yeah.
Especially Glaber.
I will say, I'm so we could say something positive about this Orioles roster. I was talking a little bit about Tanner Scott. I pulled up his Baseball Savant page. It's actually pretty impressive. He's 94th percentile in exit velocity, 87th percentile in hard hit percentage, 89th in expected slugging percentage, 99th in fastball spin rate. So I don't know if that means he might have been using some sicky stuff there. Fastball velocity is 91st percentile and 89th in whiff rate. So he's a pretty damn good pitcher, actually, but he's on the Orioles, so we're not going to hear anything about him. So he has a little bit of potential there.
Was that
Yeah,
Tanner Scott, you said?
That's Tanner Scott, yes.
Okay.
That was his 2020 percentile rankings. So
And
there's more that's in the red, too, but...
I think Dean Kremer's also been like a top prospect for a while now, because I've heard of his name like in the last like year or two. But he cracked the top or the rotation for the Orioles this year, like for their opening day roster. So I mean, there's potential there, and with John Means as well, because like we said, that he was an all-star in 2019, but like Nolan said, someone has to be an all-star for the Orioles. But he did have a good season. He placed second in Rookie of the Year, so there's definitely potential. And you never know with Matt Harvey. His career's kind of spiraled since 2015, since the Royals took him out. I definitely think that he could bounce back, but he's probably not going to be the amazing pitcher he used to be.
As an Angels fan, I can tell you taking a flyer on Matt Harvey is not a good time. Do not recommend it. 0 out of 10.
I mean, the Orioles have nothing to lose with Matt Harvey, though.
No.
Oh, yeah, they're deep in a rebuild. Like there's nothing to lose at this point. They're taking cheap guys that, hey, you know, give him a shot. If he ends up being good, then good for him. He can go make more money somewhere else for a couple years.
Lumpy in the Orioles chat, or
Yeah.
Lumpy in the Orioles chat. Jesus Christ, Lumpy in the Twitch chat said, "Stop the Orioles slander." So Nolan, that's your responsibility to say something positive.
Hey. John Means 95th percentile in walk percentage, and I'm not sure if that's good or bad. That's good, right?
That's good.
Being
That
high
means
in
it
walk
doesn't
percentage,
I
or
would
is that
think
bad?
that's good. Yeah, lower walk percentage.
Okay, cool. So he's 95th percentile in walk percentage. So John Means doesn't walk a lot of guy. His expected ERA was 86th percentile. His expected batting average was 88th percentile. His fastball velocity is above league average. So hey, my boy John Means, and his whip percentage is almost league average, 47th percentile. We'll take it. So yeah, my boy John Means. I could go in depth with every single pitcher on here, see if I can find some diamonds in the rough. But I said the name.
He said
I
the
said
name
the name.
of the thing. He said the name of the thing.
But I promise I will talk good about the Orioles once we get to their lineup. So I don't know if you guys have anything to add to this pitching staff yet.
I just have one more thing with the bullpen. I think Paul Fry's he's a bullpen arm, right? In 2020 he had a 2.45 ERA in 22 games with 5 holds, and he only gave up 3 home runs. So there's a bright spot in your bullpen.
Well, the Orioles overperformed last year. I feel like they weren't terrible. They weren't even last place, were they?
No.
No, the Red Sox were, and they faced a lot of good teams, like teams from the AL East, NL
Yeah,
East.
exactly. So
I think they'll be fine.
yeah.
Well, you said recognizable
last year
names.
Was so weird though.
Yeah, last year was weird. But former Yankees prospect, Yankee legend Dylan Tate. Hopefully he can figure it out.
Yes, sir.
And Scan didn't really give his opinion on the Orioles pitching. Obviously, he mentioned that Glaber Torres is only going to hit 40 home runs because of the Orioles pitching. But do you have any other thoughts?
I think with the Orioles are at the. I mean, like we were kind of saying before, they're deep in a rebuild right now. Their pitching staff right now, at least from my knowledge, just doesn't have anyone big, even young, too crazy supposed to come through. And I think their expectations are little to nothing for those guys. But someone can go out there and perform. It's either someone they hold on to, or they try to flip someone for some more prospects down the road. That's why you take flyers on some of those old guys, see if they work out. And, a guy like Matt Harvey, maybe he somehow pitches well. I mean, probably won't happen. But, by chance he does, some team could look to trade for him in the deadline, toss over some prospects their way, just anything to add to the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they can suck enough, man, Kumar Rocker would look great in that orange orange,
true.
man.
Or Jack Leiter. Either one.
Yeah.
Either one.
At this point, I feel like Jack Leiter's going to the Pirates, and that's kind of a lock. But, you go for second to last place in baseball. They just got to, I don't know, maybe if anybody starts to pretend like they're a good ball player, ship them out immediately. Just get them out of Baltimore. You don't want to win these 1-0 games. Well, probably like 10 to 15 games because of this pitching staff we're talking about. But if they could secure one of these draft picks, they could have an exciting farm system coming up.
Sorry that the background on Twitch just disappeared for a sec. I don't know what happened. I got it back up though. We can, unless anyone else has anything else to say about the pitching staff. I mean, the Red Sox rival the worst pitching staff in this division, but I do think it's the Orioles.
Oh, I think it's clearly the Orioles.
Yeah, but that's mostly because we don't know most of these names. But yeah, we can talk about their offense. Their offense definitely has a lot more recognizable names.
I love the offense.
So opening day, I'm going to say Pedro Severino is their starting catcher. Obviously, we have Adley Rutschman coming up eventually, hopefully this year. He's a lot older than a lot of these young guys who are coming up, but still a stud prospect who's expected to be really good soon for them because there's not really a reason he's being kept down with how bad their team is, just to manipulate service time. But Chance Cisco, I guess, is their backup catcher. They signed Maikel Franco, who's got a little pop in his bat. Freddie Galvis, another signing. Ryan Mountcastle, top prospect. Rio Ruiz, Ramon Urias, and Pat Valaika. Then for the outfield, they got Austin Hayes, Trey Mancini, automatic comeback player of the year, Cedric Mullins, Anthony Slam Tander, as I like to call him, and DJ Stewart. So honestly, I think their offense honestly has a little bit of potential. I like a lot of these guys. None of them are flashy names with the exception of maybe Trey Mancini. But all these guys, a lot of them especially, have produced at one point in their career or have potential to produce. So for a bad team, I feel like it's a pretty decent offense. It's not the Pirates. It's not the Pirates. I'm trying to think of another team. Maybe the Rangers. It's not the Rangers. But
I mean,
what do you guys
Rockies
think?
are pretty bad too.
That's a good point. But they play in Coors. They're going to have
the Rockies
offense.
have story.
The Rockies have story, but I feel like they're gonna lose story now. They've already lost Arenado. I can't.
Oh, they better.
Stories.
There's no reason to keep them.
No,
Yeah,
there's really
Rockies
not.
have Blackman, CJ Crone. They got a few solid bats there right now.
Crone could have
Yankee
40 in the
legend
ball.
Greg Bird is on the Rockies.
Yes,
now.
sir.
Yeah.
Greg Bird
with
come
long
back
hair and the
for-
beard. What a look!
Yeah.
Looking
Age is not on Charlie Blackman's
basically. I
side.
love it.
Like Charlie Blackman he's getting up there. He's 34, so he's only got probably a few more years left in the tank.
Charlie Blackman is the poster child for universal DH.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. More so, he's the National League Nelson Cruz, man. He could be so good from the DH spot, but
Oh yeah.
he's gonna be stuck out there in the outfield.
Marcelo Zuna's not that good either.
Yeah, putting him -8 outs above average or whatever.
He's the only fielder worse than Vlad in 2019. Charlie Blackman.
Yep.
but back to the Orioles offense, they are going to score a good amount of runs. I mean, the Blue Jays don't have the best pitching staff. We'll talk about that. The Red Sox have a bad pitching staff. The Rays and Yankees obviously have pretty decent to good pitching staffs. So the Orioles are going to score. The Orioles are going to get some wins if John Means, accidentally has a good start. If Matt Harvey accidentally has a good start, they'll win some of those games. So they're not going to be. They might be at the bottom of the division, but they're not going to be bottom feeders in terms of the league as a whole. They're definitely on their way to getting there. And Anthony Slam Tanner is an absolute legend in the MLB The Show community, so they've got that going for him.
He's pretty good, like in real life, especially the defense-offense combo.
Yeah,
he's definitely, he's definitely earned his keep there, I guess.
Yeah,
and
for
I can't
sure.
wait to see Trey Mancini on the field again, man. That's a fun player
Easy.
to watch. Yeah,
Easy
him on the
comeback
field,
player
very
there.
good for baseball. Oh yeah, he's what's his name from the NFL last year? You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Alex
Smith? Alex
yes.
Smith?
Yeah, he's the Alex Smith of this year.
Yeah, it's
So-
crazy. I'm glad to see him back on the field for sure. Like 1 AB and he wins comeback player of the year.
Yeah. I hope he does well, though. He was so good before he went out.
Yeah.
I know you guys probably don't hope he does well, but I'm
Hey,
sure
listen,
more
just because I'm an AL East fan, I could still hope for player success. It's not against the
Yeah,
Yankees.
of course.
That's all the requirement is. Just any team but the
Yeah.
Yankees.
I might have
That's
to
a
be
good point.
a Yankee fan, but I still
Red
have
Sox.
morals. Like I want this guy to
Yeah.
come back and be good.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Morally,
Oh, for
you
sure.
want him to do well. You just don't want him to do well in Yankee Stadium. So
No.
And listen, all that matters is Yankees win out of it. So you could hit like 50 homers off the Yankees, but they somehow win. Who cares?
I feel like
But,
the Orioles always hit the Yankees. Am I wrong about that? It seems like they always hit the Yankees. well.
And they do, yeah.
But luckily the
they-
Yankees outslug them. But
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully with their pitching staff upgrades this year, that helps them. Honestly, what I'm excited about the Orioles, I mean, first of all, is how Chris Davis is not on the starting roster right now, and he's on the bench. Which I feel for the guy because he struggled, but now Ryan Mountcastle now has a permanent spot in the lineup, and that kid I think is my low key pick for Rookie of the Year. I mean, if I'm taking a low key pick on someone to keep an eye on, Ryan Mountcastle came up off the rip, hit well, and not many young guys. I mean, we've seen recently with big names have come up and struggled, but Mountcastle came up and started to rake off the rip. So that could be someone that you keep an eye out on for a Rookie of the Year pick.
I agree with you, Scan. I think he's definitely going to be a top 3. My top 3, I have like maybe Randy Rosarena and maybe somebody else and Ryan Mountcastle mixed.
see, it's kind of tough though. The American League's so stacked because we also have Dalbec, who I feel like has like 50 home runs.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
Randy
Yeah.
Rosarena was obviously a playoff monster, but I feel like he's kind of well known, so people are going to be careful around him. Mountcastle, Rushman's coming up at some point. Kelnick's coming up at some point. Mel is making his.
Yeah.
He's going to be a regular. There's a stacked rookie class. Like this Rookie of the Year award will actually mean something, hopefully.
yeah.
As
Yeah.
opposed
Yeah.
to some Rookie of the Year awards that are literally just because they needed to give it to someone. But he's definitely a candidate for sure.
For sure.
I think the lack of a minor league team like last year, like a normal season, is kind of the reason we have so many prospects coming up now. Is it kind of created a logjam? I feel like in the top of the farm system.
yeah, they
And
want
that
these
might-
guys to get some actual ABs. You can only keep them the
Exactly.
alternate sites, so only gonna work for some.
Yeah,
For a little while.
especially because like they're already missing the first month of the minor league season this year too. So
Whatever you
Yeah.
do, don't do what the Yankees did, and I'm sure Scan knows what I'm talking about. Don't send down one of your top young rookie pitchers and then give them Rookie of the Spring award and a new watch. Just give them an
New
opening
watch.
day roster spot. You absolute
Count
morons.
the hours that you're not
Was that-
on the opening day roster.
Yeah.
You
Was
can
that
count the
Davey
hours-
Garcia?
Davey Garcia.
Davey Garcia.
They gave him top performing rookie of the spring and sent him down.
Showed his face. He was like
Yeah, his face on the picture was just
full
pissed.
deadpan, just like
yeah, it's like, good job, kid. Go
yeah,
grind
you know,
out
he
in
whispered
AAA.
in his ear like, "Hey man, you're getting set down, but here's his watch. His watch is pretty dope."
Yeah, just imagine that sequence of events. He comes to camp and they're like, "So Davey, sorry to let you know, bud, but you're not going to be starting this year. You're going to be ready to be that 6th starter guy in the minors at the other sites and all of that. Be ready for a call. But also, by the way, you were the best performing rookie at spring. So take this watch and trophy. Congrats on that, and keep it in Raider season." It's just like, how could you like?
Probably more along the lines of, "Hey man, sorry. It's like you had a really one wicked spring. Couldn't keep you on the big league squad. So go grind it out. Here's a nice watch. It'll tell the time, and it won't tell you how long until you make the big leagues."
Exactly.
I mean, knowing the Yankees won't be long.
Yeah.
So-
Oh my god. No, he'll be up within the first couple of weeks probably, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. Does anyone else have any? I think the Yankees. I think the rookie of the year is probably going to come from the AL East. I mean, they've got Dahlbeck and Mountcastle and
Kirk.
possibly
And
Rutschman.
Rosarena, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. They have such good rookie class this year. Don't sleep on my boy Chris Rodriguez, though. C-Rod starting in the Angels bullpen this year. He made the roster. He didn't get screwed like Davey Garcia. Man struck out
But-
Joey Votto, and other people that I can remember. But
did he get Rookie of the Spring though?
ooh, I don't think we have that award.
Why do we have that
I
award?
think
That is the
that's-
stupidest shit I've ever
Yeah.
heard. It's like
Yeah.
if
And
you're
why
a
is it
rookie,
wa-
if you're a
why
rookie,
isn't
you
there,
know
like-
you're not going to make the team. It's stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so dumb.
If you're not making the team, you're not a rookie then, really. So rookie's your first year on the big league team. I mean,
Yeah,
Dumb as fuck to me.
this is gonna be funny.
Yeah.
God, it's gonna be such a crazy year, man. I'm so glad we're doing this
Yeah.
podcast this year. There's
Yeah,
so
me
many
too.
storylines to follow. Like even Mountcastle could have some competition with his own team if Rushman gets called up, because I doubt they're gonna get crazy performances out of Pedro Severino and Chance Cisco.
Yeah, they're not
So,
very
I-
they're not very good hitters. They're not very good hitters.
Yeah. We're literally gonna get one day where Jeff Passan is just all over Twitter, like, "Oh, Bobby Dahlbeck, or not Bobby Dahlbeck, what's his name? Bobby Witt Jr. just got called up. Jared Kelenic just got called up. Julio Rodriguez just got called up." It's literally just gonna be everybody getting called up the day where they can, have their service time manipulated or whatever. I don't even
That's
know
my
how that works
dream.
exactly, but
My dream would
I
be to
remember when they.
have Bobby Witt win.
Oh, dude, he has that potential for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they a lot of underrated guys on this team, offensively.
Offensively.
Yeah.
Offensively.
So that's pretty much
Yeah.
everything that I think we have about the Orioles, unless anyone else has. Nolan, if you want to, I know Nolan, you got to go. So if you want to give your,
Yeah, you gotta go. I have some closing statements, I believe. The Angels are officially a playoff team, so we can just clap on that. They got a bullpen. We acquired some bullpen arms. They're not amazing, but they're slightly, they're around league average bullpen arms, which we haven't seen for about 10 years. So I'm excited. We got a bullpen. That was the only thing I was sketched about. So you can send your congratulations in the mail to me. We're officially a playoff team, and I felt like I had a hot take for this division, but I don't know. I don't know if I have any. I think that my closing statement's going to be the Angels making the playoffs.
that's a
I
hard
don't
enough
know.
take, honestly.
two things.
Uh-huh.
Tony Watson got cut by the Phillies, and you have to be terrible to get cut by the Phillies.
What?
Yeah, no, okay. So Tony Watson was a minor league roster non-invite, so
Yeah,
he wasn't
minor
like
league
guaranteed a spot. So they just told him that he wasn't going to get a spot on the roster. Whether that was just because they didn't want to lose someone on the 40-man or whatnot, that's beside the point.
He's
and
better than
two,
Alex Claudio.
Alex Claudio is the best reliever in the game. I don't want to hear it. We'll have no Claudio slander in my Christian pod. No, just kidding. But I just zoned out for a sec there. I got so heated about Claudio. What are your division rankings before you go?
Division rankings. All right. Real quick, Yankees on top. I think that's pretty clear. They're probably the best team in the American League, especially now that Eloy Jimenez, the MVP of the American League, is going to be this year. Please pray for my fantasy teams, and specifically Aaron Judge, because I have him on both of them, and I need him to be an MVP candidate, and I think he is my pick for the MVP. Second place, I'm going to go with the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't love their pitching staff, but I think they have enough to get it done with how amazing their offense is going to be. It's going to be ridiculous.
I'm going to disagree with that one.
Oh.
They lost Yates, and Roark's back to his old ways, at least in his last couple spring starts. So, yeah. I don't think the Blue Jays have the pitching to get done, but
Can you hear
we'll
me?
talk about that later.
Oh, we can hear you now. You froze up pretty bad.
Oh shit! Really?
No, not you, Eric.
Yeah, Nolan
Nolan
froze.
did.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nolan's froze up.
Oh yeah, no,
Sorry.
I see that too. Yeah.
Nolan, if you can hear me, Nolan, don't ever talk about Aaron Judge being the MVP again, because you said that Zach Gallen was going to win the NL Cy Young. He went down with an injury. You said Eloy Jimenez was going to win MVP. He went down with an injury. So you better never talk about Aaron Judge again.
Never say anything about Bobby Witt Jr. either.
And with
You
that,
better knock on wood or something. while you
oh,
say
Nolan's
something
back. There
like
it is.
that.
I was going to say, and with that, we say goodbye to Nolan, but he's still here.
There I am.
Still frozen. Oh,
Nope.
Oh, I think
There
we
we
might
go.
have lost.
Okay.
Oh, you're back.
So I was saying Yankees, I think Blue Jays have enough pitching at the top of their rotation to get them through to a playoff spot. Not a deep playoff run, but I love their lineup. It's absolutely insanely stacked, especially if Vladimir Guerrero Jr. does what everyone thinks he's going to. The Rays will be my third place team. Could definitely find a way to take over at least second place, maybe even win the division, just because that's what the Rays love to do with all the random players they collect, like Luis Patino. Said his name right for once. Red Sox in fourth, but they're probably the best fourth place team definitely in the American League, maybe in all of baseball, with possibly the exception of the NL East. But I absolutely love their team. I think Bobby Dahlbeck's a Rookie of the Year candidate. Same thing, stacked offense, not enough pitching. But they did add Ottavino. I think he's going to be a little bit better than people are expecting him to be at the back end of that bullpen. And until Chris Sale gets back and Eduardo Rodriguez is not good, right now they said he's having some health issues. He's been pretty messed up since COVID. So I still think the Red Sox are going to be very good. They'll probably have a top-tier offense, just not enough pitching to get them to playoffs or even to third place in their own division. And then, of course, the my beloved Orioles in fifth place, unfortunately. Not enough pitching, but hey, Trey Mancini will have a nice little welcome back tour. He'll win comeback player of the year. And then they have two Rookie of the Year candidates. So it'll be a fun year to be an Orioles fan. Not as fun as it's going to be any other fan in this division, but, you know, a fun year for a fifth place team. So yeah, those are my takes. I know you probably don't want to get too deep into them because you got your own takes, but
yeah, I think we should probably we'll circle back to your takes at the end here. So we can talk shit about you after you leave behind your back.
Yeah, of course. As soon as I leave, I want you to pile it on. Don't hold back, man.
Yeah. Behind your back while I'm live streaming, so you can never know.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'll never know. I promise I won't lurk.
Perfect.
All right, boys. Appreciate sorry I couldn't be here for longer, but I appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming on, Scan and Eric.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you guys. See you next time.
All right.
Yeah.
So, bro.
Later, man.
So as Nolan leaves us, our beloved Nolan, I believe next up in the alphabet would be Nick's beloved Boston Red Sox.
Boston Red Sox.
So, go ahead.
I will say that Tyster in the chat a couple minutes ago, he said, Nolan, stop stroking your beard. And that's why I was laughing.
That was funny.
And then I seen the message that said Nick can't hold in his laughter, and then I looked over and Nick was laughing, and then I started laughing.
Yeah, that was really hilarious. But for the Red Sox, the pitching staff, we have Chris Sale, Eduardo Rodriguez, Nathan Eovaldi, new Red Sox pitcher Garrett Richards, Martin Perez, Nick Pivetta, and Matt Andriesi. I think that's how you say his name. In the bullpen, we have Austin Bryce, Phillips Valdez, I think he's Japan, Hirokazu Sawamura. He just signed with the Red Sox on like a 2-year deal for like $5 million, I think. You got Josh Taylor, Darwinson Hernandez, Ottavino from the Yankees, Ryan Brazier, and Matt Barnes, who is actually listed to be the closer here on MLB.com. I don't know if that's the same for any of you guys, but that's what I have for the bullpen for the Red Sox. He's listed as their closer. I think it should be Ottavino, but
sorry, I was just realized I didn't have MLB.com open. Yeah, I mean, this pitching staff's not that good. I don't think there's any denying that. Did you mention Tanner Houck, or however you say his name?
Tanner Houck.
Houck.
Oh no, he's not here.
He's been. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be on the opening day roster. He's been pretty nasty. Okay. He was good last year. He's been pretty nasty in the spring. Like you said, the Red Sox rotation's a lot about a lot of guys who need to have a pretty good comeback year. Obviously, Sale. I don't think he'll be back right away though. Same with Erod, and Martin Perez. I don't know if he's ever been that good, but
no, I think Martin Perez has been average, and I think Sale. I think his ETA was gonna be like back from injury was, I think it's May or June or something like that. So he's not gonna be back right away. But no, I'm not really high on this Red Sox rotation, as he should be, because like they have some they got big names there. They got Sale and they have Rodriguez. I really like those two, but you never really know what to expect coming off injury and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, yeah, that's what I have to say about the rotation and the bullpen. It got a lot better with Adam Ottavino, and I'm really a fan of Josh Taylor too, like just because of the show. and Matt Barnes too. He's pretty solid. So I'm definitely more higher on the bullpen than the rotation. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think the rotation. I mean, they're getting improvements this year. They had Sale gone last year. They had Erod lost last year too. Had some rough luck with the injuries, and they're at least looking a little better than say the Orioles. I would probably say guys like Eovaldi have pitched well before. Garrett Richards has been a solid pitcher at different parts of his career. Martin Perez isn't terrible, but again, yeah, not the most competitive rotation. But I don't think the Red Sox are in that most competing stage right now, anyway. So for where they're at, I mean, they could flip some of those guys at the deadline for more players, whatever they plan on doing. And also looking at the pen, I think the Ottavino acquisition's a good one. I mean, all they paid was money for him, I think. So you get a shot at a previously successful reliever, take him out of New York, give him a shot. Either keep him for yourself down the road, give him another shot somewhere else, and hope to get some players at it. Whatever it is, they have guys they can work with, and they have a very mobile bullpen in which, like, if they pitch well, they could easily make something out of them. So not the strongest staff, but at least they are names that have succeeded before, especially in the pen. So I think there is some value to be had there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Like Ottavino's had a couple good seasons. I think it was 2017, 2018 with the Rockies, I believe. And to be that lights out in Coors Field is impressive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I like that.
Ottavino wasn't even. I mean, his ERA looks bad last year, but reliever ERA is a joke anyway, especially in a shortened season.
Yeah.
He wasn't that bad for the Yankees. The Yankees didn't use him right. They didn't really trust him. He never pitched any big game moments for them, which was annoying because I'm a big Ottavino guy. I'm sad to see him go. I think it makes sense. I know why. I knew they were going to trade him. I know why they had to. So I think he's definitely going to get some saves against the Yankees for the Red Sox. So if you're a Red Sox fan, you'll definitely love him. He's a great clubhouse guy, teammate. Brings a lot of energy. He cares a lot. So he also went to college in Boston. So not that means anything, but it is a fact. But I think the ceiling for this team is pretty easily second place. That might be a hot take. But this team just has to pitch a little bit, and the offense is gonna be pretty good. So this team does scare me. A lot of people are writing off the Red Sox, and I think it's a bad idea. I don't know if you agree with me, Scan. But if I say Eric's a Blue Jays fan, so if I say the Red Sox can get second place, that probably makes him more mad.
Yeah, no, I just don't see it, honestly. Yeah, no, they're good, but just the division as a whole is so good. I mean, you have the Blue Jays they made the playoffs last year, and they got better by getting Springer and Semien as well, along with a few lower tier pitching. But I think their pitching still did get better. And then you have the Tampa Bay Rays that literally just came from the World Series, and then you have the Yankees that are arguably like the best team in the American League. So I think fourth place for Boston as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing with the Red Sox is they aren't like a terrible team, but stacked up with a lot of teams in this division, they're probably not going to compete with the powerhouses that the Yankees, now the Jays, and the Rays have for the top of that division. If all the cards align, they definitely could. I think the best they would even be able to do is second place. Like you're saying, that's their ceiling. But I think the Red Sox are more so just a chip in the shoulder of those teams. And they're not going to do amazingly well against the top three teams. But, they could take away some valuable wins to those teams, and they could be a big factor in how the division plays out based on, see, how the Yankees, Rays, and Jays perform against them. And if they take some valuable wins against them, that could easily be a big change in the standings for this division.
Yeah. If all the cards fell the right way, and like the Yankees and Blue Jays and the Rays had some really bad injuries and stuff like that, and they won critical games, I mean, you could theoretically, I could see them finishing second, but I do think it'd probably be fourth place.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Like I said, their pitching isn't as comparable to their lineup. Their lineup is just so much better, and I'm really high on it. I used to be a Red Sox fan, and there's a reason I'm not a Red Sox fan anymore, obviously because I'm a Royals fan. But I do really like this team, especially the lineup. For catcher, you have Christian Vasquez and his backup, Kevin Plawecki. I hope I said that right.
Yeah.
First base, you got potential Rookie of the Year candidate, Bobby Dalbec. He's crazy. He's got a lot of power. I love what he's been doing. At second base, you got Enrique Hernandez, Kiki Hernandez. Third base, you got Rafi Devers. Shortstop, you got the X-Man, Xander Bogaerts. And left field, you have the new Red Sox, like via trade the last month or two, Franchi Cordero. Hopefully he pans out too. We got Alex Verdugo in center field and Hunter Renfroe in right, along with JD Martinez in the DH spot. One thing I'll say about this lineup that might be a hot take is the Red Sox adding Renfroe to the lineup because he does have a lot of power against lefties, and he does play really good defense. If you watch the postseason series with the Rays against the Astros this past season, Renfroe made a lot of great plays. So you'll expect that a lot in Boston, in right field or left field. It seems like Verdugo is going to be starting in center. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if I were to summarize his Red Sox offense in a few words, or some general theme, is that the core of their offense is one of the best in the league. Their infield, some of their best players on the team are a nice bunch. They're not the most flashy names, but they have performed or have the potential to get to that really high level. Like Verdugo, someone I've been really high upon since him coming up, and the Red Sox picking him up. He had a great year last year. Devers is one of the better third basemen in the league. They got Xander Bogaerts, who's an underrated shortstop.
100%.
For how good
man.
offensively he is. And then you have young studs like Dahlbeck coming up who can come up and perform. And I think the offense can do some damage. They definitely have a nice core in that offense. And, that's not going to be the reason they lose games, I think, on this team.
Yeah, it's gonna be the pitching. And you mentioned Dahlbeck being one of the top prospects and one of the top names coming up in the game in general. There's also I think Jarren Duran. He's also a top prospect for the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeter Downs.
Jeter Downs.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Who
they got
like a
some
big-
names.
they do.
I think I'm about to. If you're not a Red Sox, if you're a Blue Jays or a Rays fan, I might be about to piss you off. I'm not sure. To me, the Rays, no, sorry, not the Rays. The Blue Jays and the Red Sox are extremely similar teams. They don't have very good pitching staffs. You can kind of argue which one's better. I do think the Blue Jays might have an advantage right now. And
I think the Blue Jays are a year or two ahead on their kind of championship window, I feel like.
And
compared to the Red Sox.
Yeah. So the Red Sox have good offense. The Blue Jays obviously have a good offense. The Blue Jays' ceiling as an offense might be higher with guys like Bichette and Teoscar Hernandez and my pick for the AL MVP, Vladdy Jr. But this Red Sox, the difference between the Red Sox and the Blue Jays offense is that the Red Sox have a more proven offense. We know what we're going to get out of most of those guys. With the exception of Franchi Cordero, we know, and kind of Bobby Dahlbeck, but if he hits like he did in spring training, he's about to be a stud. So that's why I think the Red Sox could potentially find themselves in second place.
And that's why I said, like, if all the cards fall in the right way, for sure. Yeah.
I don't think it's as absurd as some people think it is, that they could find their way in second place.
And the more I think about it, I agree. Yeah, no. But I don't think it's likely. But it could happen.
You just never know.
Go ahead, Scan.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think another key thing we haven't talked about much in this offense is JD Martinez.
Yeah.
Now, he was one of the better hitters in the league before last year, and obviously 60-game season, probably a bunch of factors going. He had a down year last year. And just a couple years ago, JD Martinez was with like Nelson Cruz and like that, like super DH category, and just was a massive offensive force. And, it could have been a factor to 60-game season. It could have been a factor of the Red Sox getting a little weaker offensively from a couple years back. But, JD Martinez is an interesting factor on what they do with him what they plan on him for the next few years.
I don't know how long he's under contract for. I don't remember how much longer it's for.
Yeah, let me check up on that.
But like, in terms of like, I'm playing like the Rays guy. I'll be introducing the Rays because we have Scan here, of course. But as a Yankee fan, watching the Red Sox, playing them doesn't scare me as much as playing the Jays or the Rays does. And that doesn't really add up because I'm saying they could potentially find themselves in second place. But like, I don't know, just because they don't perform as well against the Yankees as the Jays or the Rays do. But they're gonna beat up on a lot of other teams. I mean, if this team was if the Red Sox were in the Central, they'd have a very good chance to be at the top of that division. Same thing with the AL West. But so I think a lot of people are just writing them off, and I'm just saying don't do that because they're gonna mash.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% because people write off the Rays year by year. They're a very underrated team. Like they get the job done. Like that's going to start happening with the Red Sox. I feel like people are just going to write them off. They're not going to think twice about them, and then out of nowhere, boom! Here come all the fucking nukes.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's what I got on the Red Sox. So,
Eric or Scan, do you guys? I feel like Nick and I have given our thoughts. Do you guys have anything else on it?
No,
I mean, I
I'm
kind
feeling
of talked
pretty
about. I kind of talked about. Yeah, no, I feel like that's pretty much it. One guy I feel like we didn't mention enough is Kiki Hernandez. I really like him just because like I love utility guys, like people that can play anywhere in the field. It really adds like a level of value that people I feel like don't appreciate enough. So, in the same way as Kevin Biggio on the Blue Jays, sort of the same way. Like if you have like an injury or something, then you want to give a guy a day off, and you can kind of work around that and have them pretty much play anywhere. So. I like players like that.
Yeah.
Besides that, no, that's fine.
Don't type Kike Hernandez in the chat. Twitch does not like that at all.
But Enrique.
Exactly.
The Spanish Eric.
They also have Marwin Gonzalez, another guy we didn't talk about, but he can play everywhere. They traded for him this year. Michael Chavis, another guy on the bench. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, he's been mashing this spring.
Yeah.
I think I saw somewhere on Twitter the other day that I think it was Chavis and Dahlbeck. They hit like a combined 13 home runs or something over the spring, like more than a specific. No, not a specific team, but I don't remember what. That's going to come back to me later. I'll just try and remember it. I can't remember what I was going to say, but
it's all good.
Something like that.
So now, if I have my alphabet right, we're going to be moving on to Scans, America's beloved New York Yankees. You know, everyone just loves the Yankees. No hate towards Yankees fans at all.
Canada hates the Yankees.
Before I get into that, by the way, I did find a stat just with a quick Twitter search. Chavis and Dahlbeck have 12 homers this spring, which is more than the entire Astros franchise with 12 home runs this spring.
Okay, that's yes, that's what I was
Fuzzy
thinking,
tweeted
Stan.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about, Stan. Thank you.
Yep, of course. So yeah, let's talk about them glorious Yankees. I think
America's
just
sweetheart.
yes, baseball's team. So I think the thing with the Yankees that was fun for them this offseason was that they started to take this focus towards their pitching staff, which has been something which for the Yankees has been one of their weaker things the last few years is building a sustainable pitching staff. So looking at their starting rotation, they have Garrett Cole at the helm still. They picked up Corey Kluber in the offseason. He'll be that number 2 starter, it looks like. Jameson Taillon, another trade pickup in the offseason, will be in the 3 spot. Right now, based off of a good spring training performance, even though he's a terrible human being, Domingo Germán is going to be in the 4 spot of that rotation. And in number 5 right now is Jordan Montgomery. Those are the first 5 they're rolling with, but they did say they're planning on going to Davy Garcia at some point early on this season to be as a 6th starter, backup starter, to be prepared early on in the year because he had success in the spring too, and there's a likely chance someone in the rotation gets injured, so they're playing for the long haul with him. And then looking at the bullpen, they already have some injuries off the rip, but Zach Britton's one of those guys in their bullpen that performed super well last year as a closer and a setup man. But he got injured in the spring, so he was one man down. They got Roldis Chapman, obviously, still. They picked up Darren O'Day after trading Ottavino. They traded Ottavino and got some money back and put that money towards Darren O'Day and Justin Wilson in the pen. So they have a little bit more bullpen depth. Also, they've had guys in their system like Jonathan Loizaga and Luis Sessa who are going to be used in the pen, kind of getting more of an opportunity. Other guys that they have listed on the roster, Nick Nelson, Michael King, Chad Green is a staple in that bullpen. So like the pen is one of the better bullpens in the league, and the rotation they have built up this offseason. So, I mean, the Yankees have a more well-rounded pitching staff now than in years past, not as top-heavy as it used to be. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that treats them this year.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk about most of the guys you just said for a long time. I'll keep it as short as I can. Do you know? Is Ulyss Chassin? Did they release him from his contract, or he's still listed on the roster?
I'm pretty sure he's not listed on the roster. I'm pretty sure he's gone.
Okay, because he was
I'll
potential.
double check on that.
He was a potential sixth guy for them in the beginning of the year. But the pen is weaker than it now than it has been in a while. The past few years, obviously, the Yankees at one time had Aroldis Chapman, Andrew Miller, Dellin Betances, Chad Green, one like those stacked bullpens. They don't quite have that anymore. But when Justin Wilson comes back, when Zach Britton comes back, they'll still be fine. I don't know if you were a diehard Yankee fan, you might recognize this name. Lucas Lester Litke pitched like an absolute stud in spring training. I think we'll probably see him at some point this year. He's going to be at the alternate site. In terms of the rotation, this rotation probably has the most potential out of the rotation for the Yankees that we've seen in a long time, but it also has a pretty bad floor. If Kluber goes down or doesn't pitch well, if Taillon goes down or doesn't pitch well, if Luis Severino has any setbacks and doesn't come back in July or August, with the outside of Garrett Cole, this rotation has the potential to be really bad, but it also has the potential to be really good. So it's kind of nerve-wracking. Yeah. I'm really high on Jordan Montgomery. I think he's going to pitch pretty well. I'm not as high on Corey Kluber as I am on Jamison Taillon. Nick and I have a bet going that if Jamison Taillon gets at least one Cy Young vote, then he has to buy me a jersey. And if the Royals finish in second place, then I have to buy him a jersey. So,
yeah, I think kind of like what you're saying was with the Yankees, the bullpen is just they've shifted their priorities a little bit, and they were a very bullpen heavy team. They tried to fill up their bullpen with as many studs as possible, get the big names in there, and the rotation was obviously a weakness for them. And what's really going to be interesting with the Yankees this year is that transition to a more rotation-focused team. You know, they have guys like Taillon and Kluber who can eat at some innings along with guys like Garrett Cole. So a little less pressure out of the bullpen this year, very likely. Another thing is just like, yeah, there are definitely question marks. You know, Corey Kluber coming off an injury is definitely slightly worrying, but you would like to hope that he could go out there and give them good innings, which is still valuable to that team. Taillon I think he's coming off of some sort of injury relatively recently in the last couple of years too. And he hasn't had the same kind of stuff, but, you know, is always that highly touted young pitcher. Now getting a chance to pitch with a competitive team. We'll see how he does. But definitely a lot of question marks, but also all the cards aligned, his staff could be really good.
it's stressful. It is stressful.
Yeah, very stressful.
But if you're, I'm trying to think. Oh, if you're listening to this as a Yankee fan, you probably know of John Boy. They're big Yankee fans. That's how their whole media network started. And for a long time now, the Yankees are trying to compete with the Rays. The Yankees are trying to do what the Rays do, and the Rays have a gazillion bullpen arms. They all throw from different arm angles, all this stuff. The Yankees tried to duplicate that for a while, and it didn't work because they didn't have enough starting pitching. We saw it Game 2 of the ALDS. Davey Garcia pitched one inning, and then J. Happ, the bane of my existence, gave up a bunch of runs in that game, and lost us that game. So now the Yankees are finally being like, oh, we actually need decent starting pitching rotation to make it somewhere in the playoffs. thank God they're finally taking that perspective. Obviously, you need a good bullpen in the playoffs, but that's not the only thing that's going to get you to the World Series and through the World Series. Don't know why so many bots just came into my chat.
Yeah, I've been trying to ban a bunch right now.
Yeah,
I've been trying to ban them.
A ton just came into the chat.
Nate's doing a good job.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. Shout out. But yeah, I'm glad they're finally worrying about the rotation.
Yep.
Yeah, and shifting to the offense now. I mean, I think all of us could basically agree that on paper, the Yankees have the best offense in the AL and easily one of the best couple offense in the league.
Yeah, I have to agree with you.
Yep. No, I
even
really think
injuries
it's-
aside, they have a great offense. Off of the rip, catcher, you got Gary Sanchez, who had a solid spring, who is very polarizing to Yankee fans. You
Yeah.
either love him or you hate him.
I actually hope he does okay because I actually got stuck with him for fantasy this year. I was waiting on Darno, and then somebody went and picked Darno early, and then I got stuck with Sanchez, and I was like, I don't care about his defense because it's fantasy baseball.
Hey,
so
at least
like,
it's
whatever.
catcher. Catcher
Yeah,
is
no,
one of those
I just
spots you
wanna-
can kind of take a wild card on.
Yeah, you really can because like at the end of the day, most catchers can't hit. There's only a few that can, and Gary Sanchez, even when he's at like his floor, he's really not that terrible for a catcher. He's just his defense is so bad it doesn't make up for it.
Exactly, yeah. So like it seems like Gary will be the starting catcher is what the gist has been. But also they have Kyle Higashioka.
Does Cole still want to pitch to
from what I heard, the plan is Gary's gonna be his catcher to start.
Because I know
So,
Cole
yeah,
wanted,
that was the thing last year.
Yeah.
Higgy started a lot of games that Cole pitched for that duo. But according to Boone in the spring, it seems like Gary's gonna be the main guy back there.
I'm glad
And
they're
then
doing
going
that
to-
too. I think eventually, once
I
the
agree.
postseason start, they'll probably end up with the whole personal catcher bullshit in the playoffs because you want Cole to pitch his best. If it doesn't go well with Gary, hopefully it does go well with Gary, and this conversation's just over. But I'm glad they're not starting out with the personal catcher because that's just a bad look.
I think the thing with Gary's that he kind of needs that kick in the butt. He kind of felt like he was just like complacent. He was going, his approach to the plate was off. It was all just only trying to hit homers. You could tell he was a guy to pitch to in that lineup that like in those playoff games, anytime Gary was up, they would choose to pitch to him over, obviously like Aaron Judge, Gleyber Torres, the core of that lineup. So if he can just like work on his approach to the plate and put up better ABs, I think that's even a massive improvement for them.
I think
good
John
thing
Boy
it's-
did a video on that too. I think he did like a video about fixing his swing or something. I don't know if it was he was starting his stride too late compared to 2019. I think is what it was.
I don't know if
And
you've
it
seen
was
the
really
video
noticeable.
scan, but Trevor Plouffe, former major leaguer, did a whole video about like fixing Gary's swing, and then Gary had a pretty good spring. So thank you, Trevor Plouffe. If you're listening, I know you're not listening.
Plouffe,
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Love
Shout out
it.
to Trevor
Never know.
Plouffe.
DVD could show him.
He may help me
Yeah,
win fantasy
true. We
baseball
did
this
have
year.
BBD on. He could show him.
He could show him. Easy. Please,
So yeah,
BBD.
going through the rest of the infield, Gio Urshela will be manning third base for him. Been locked down that spot for the last couple years. Gleyber Torres will be the main shortstop. We all know, you
No
know me, you know
surprise.
my thoughts on Gleyber Torres. Very obvious. I know I'm wearing his jersey today. I think, yeah,
Love it,
gotta
man.
represent Gleyber whenever possible. My favorite Yankee. Second base, a big re-signing in the season to get DJ LeMahieu, lock him down, which I think is massive for them just because of the kind of player he is. And the main first baseman to start was going to be Luke Voit. And, the Yankees have already started down the path of injuries, and he's out with a leg injury. So I'm presuming Jay Bruce or they'll shift the infield around and get DJ to play first and play Tyler Wade at second. Whatever they do, there'll probably be some mix of that, and that'll be who they're going to be starting off with. And then their outfield guys, you got Judge, you got Clint Frazier in left field, Aaron Hicks in center, and you see Brett Gardner's hopping in games every so often, and Stanton man in the DH spot. And that is the the entirety of probably one of the best offenses in the league.
It scares me a lot. It does scare
Yeah.
me a lot. I will say this. I really hope we are an Aaron Judge pod. Like, other than Diekman, Leclerc, like we're a Judge pod. We're an everybody pod. Everybody that's good. I'm really high on Aaron Judge. As the viewers and listeners know. But I really hope he stays healthy this year. I really hope he
No,
stays healthy.
I hope he
There
does
we
good.
go.
I just hope he doesn't do good against the Blue Jays. That's all I care about.
Yep.
Besides that, no. I like Judge, but same with Stanton. I like Stanton too. And I like Stanton long before he came to New York. So I was actually a little sad he came to New York, but it is what it is.
Mhm.
I mean, together, if they're both healthy, that alone is scary for like
That's
AL East
terrifying.
team.
Yeah,
Like
no.
Mhm.
they're both top 15 players in the league
Oh,
if they're
yeah.
healthy.
Mhm.
Easy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the key with them is the health, like you're saying. And we've seen in the past few years that if Judge has an injury and it kind of lingers with him, he doesn't hit at that same level. Same with Stanton, he'll have an injury at some point. It kind of hovers with him throughout the year. He's just not the same hitter or it doesn't have that same production. But we saw last year when Stanton came back in the season, and he had with Arozarena one of the best postseasons. And with how well he hit, that's nothing but encouraging as a Yankee fan. Aaron Judge at the start of the season was one of the best players in the league, and then he got injured. And then, those are just the big two names. Gleyber Torres is probably on pace to like a nice bounce back year, even though it was a down year last year. He was still pretty good. He's easily a 20 to 30 homer guy. You got DJ LeMahieu, who in the last couple of years has been an MVP candidate conversation guy, who really brings that lineup together, just not being a homer focused guy and just gets bats on the ball, puts pressure on the pitchers, and isn't like a homer or bust kind of guy. So that's why that signing was such a big deal for them. And even though the Voit injury off the rip is potentially discouraging, I've been saying this, at least it wasn't Judge or Stanton. At least it was Voit, and we'll get him back soon. But losing Judge or Stanton off the rip would have been absolutely disheartening. The Luke
agree
Voit
with you,
injury
man.
hurts, but Luke Voit had a great year last year. But you don't really expect that same performance this year with the large homer numbers. He'll be a good power source, but he's the kind of guy, like, he's not the guy that's going to make the team very good. Judge and Stanton are those guys that take them to that next level.
I 100% agree with you, Scan.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, it sucks to see. We just lost the American League leader in home runs last year, and we're not thankful about it, obviously, but he's not the guy, which is just speaks to how good this offense is. They did say that Jay Bruce is going to be the opening day first baseman. He's going to play a lot of first base while Voigt's out. He'll probably be back late May to early June, I believe, is the timeline. I think what they said was he'd be back earlier than June 1st, I think, which means he'll be back after June 1st because that's just how the Yankees operate. And yeah, but the offense is obviously really good. Gleyber Torres gets a lot of heat for his defense, but he's played exceptional defense over at shortstop so far this spring. He came into summer camp last year out of shape. He admitted that. So hopefully this year he had a good full offseason. By the time the playoffs started, he was actually back into shape, which is why he had such a good postseason. So now he's in full shape this year. He's had a good spring. That'll just carry over. So I'm very excited to see a full season from him. And then obviously, I mean, our dude, my God, DJ LeMahieu just makes this. He's what makes the machine run. Obviously, even when Judge and Stanton might hit 50 home runs apiece, you could argue that DJ LeMahieu is the MVP of this team because when they hit those home runs, he's on base. He makes the pitcher work. He leads this offense in every single way imaginable. So they needed that. They needed to bring him back, and thank God they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of Gary Sanchez, I mean, he gets the bat in like the 7th spot in this lineup, which is just a blessing for him. Most offenses, even if he was bad, he'd be hitting number 4 because that's the kind of potential he has. We've seen him lead the Yankees before. Just if anyone from the Yankees organization is listening to this, like Stop messing with his defense. He's going to be bad defensively. Stop caring. Just let him hit. For the love of God. Before you started messing with him and gave him a different catching coach every single year, he hit really well. Stop getting in his head. For the love of God.
Yeah.
That is all. That's my Gary Sanchez rant.
I mean, he has the potential really to be like the next Mike Piazza, in my opinion. Like if he's at his ceiling for a long enough peak, but he also has the potential to be literally like a replacement level catcher at the same time.
Exactly.
So.
Also, one name we haven't even talked about yet, which I think is a big one, is Clint Frazier, and how Clint Frazier has been his guy that's been on and off. He hasn't had much of an opportunity to start out in left field. Last year, he got that really good shot at starting and like blocking down that starting spot for some reason forever. Aaron Boone really liked playing guys like Gardner out there. But now you get a guy like Frazier who has established himself that he can hit well at a major league level. And, you know, he's a valuable source of that offense too, just because you have so many big names. You have someone that just makes that lineup super deep. You have like your 6-7 hitter be like a guy like Clint Frazier who could, for a lot of teams, be like a 5 spot easily. And like, you know, Clint Frazier could provide like 20, 30 homers. And, you know, he's got really, everyone talks about his bat speed, but he's got one of the quickest swings in the league.
Oh, yeah.
And so far as, you know, he's improved his defense. He actually like really bounced back his fielding last year. He kind of had this connotation of being a bad fielder, have some weird plays. But last year, he was a pretty good fielder for him.
Gold Glove
He's a
finalist.
big factor. Yeah, he's a big factor on this team that honestly doesn't get talked about because of all the tons of big names, but he could be a rock in that offense.
He should be talked about more,
Agreed.
Scam.
He's definitely underrated for sure.
Yeah, I just hope the moment that Clint struggles, I hope they don't take him out of the lineup because that'll just mess with him even more. Dear God, don't do that, please. And like they have Gardy. Obviously, Gardy's up there in age, but he still hits a little bit. Still plays good defense. But another guy who they get so many damn calls about, Mike Tauchman. I think he played well this spring. They still have him. He was originally gonna make the team over Jay Bruce until Voit got injured. So, like, Tauchman plays a pretty good center field. He's got a pretty good pop. And then their bench. I mean, they have Higashioka. I want Gary Sanchez to be the everyday catcher, obviously. But all I need from Higashioka is 1 3-home-run game again, so I get that high overall in MLB The Show, because he might be the glitchiest catcher in this game. I destroy with that card. And then, like I said, Gardy and Tauchman, and then Tyler Wade's their backup infielder. And then there was a lot of talk about Derek Dietrich in the beginning of the spring training because everyone was like, when the hell did that happen? The Yankees signed Dietrich. He's not on the roster, but he is at the Yanks alternate site. He agreed to a minor league assignment. He's a homie for that because I really wanted him on the team. I think a lot of people did. So I think he likes New York. He's glad he gets to stay, even though he's not at the big league level. At some point, he'll play some meaningful games for the Yankees this year.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know, a Yankee injury luck, he can get an opportunity any day.
I mean, if Bruce struggles or something, like, he can easily come up and play first or second for him. Yeah. Just give me Dietrich pimping home runs in Yankee Stadium.
Even Stanton for DH if Stanton happens to get hurt.
Yeah.
Or maybe when Stanton gets hurt. I don't know which one it'll be.
Don't you dare make this happen. You're gonna wish it into existence. Don't you dare.
I can't. Springer's already hurt. Nate Pearson's already hurt. I can't say shit.
Well, speaking of, go ahead, Nick.
I do have a question for Scan and you, Mick. What do you guys think of Clark Schmidt, one of the top prospects in your organization? What do you guys think about him?
He's interesting because him and Davey were paired together in names for a while. Always talk about like, oh, we got Davey and Clark coming up. And Davey got that opportunity last year and kind of ran away with it, especially with the rotation additions they made. You know, I mean, knowing the Yankees, some injuries could literally happen in the snap of a finger, and Clark Schmidt could be your 5 starter. But also, like, you think about it, you know, he was someone that was somewhat looked upon like Davey. I know I've heard some people talk about one being better than the other. And I like to put them in the same kind of spot where, like, I don't know if they'll be ace level pitchers once they establish themselves, but solid middle rotation starters. And I've heard a lot of people say Clark Schmidt could be a little better from my experience. I really don't know. I'm bad with that kind of stuff, but he's kind of in a weird spot right now on the team just because he doesn't really have much of a role.
Yeah.
It looks like.
I mean,
I just wanted to get your take on it. Because a lot of people talk about him.
He's on the 60-day IL anyway right now, so
yeah,
he's not going to pitch for a while
forgot
anyway.
about that.
Never mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if he's like, I don't think it's a super bad injury, but he's not available right now. He's older than Davey Garcia. I'm definitely higher on Davey. That sounds stupid because obviously Davey pitched really well in the big leagues last year, so it makes sense that I'd be higher on Davey. He's more proven. Clark Schmidt came up and he only threw 6 innings, so it doesn't matter, but he was pretty bad last year. I don't know. We'll see what he does. I'm not expecting much out of him. Even a top prospect, does he have a future pitching with the Yankees? I'm pessimistic in terms of Yankees pitching prospects because I've been disappointed before. So I don't know if Clark Schmidt has much of a future pitching in New York. We will see. When they traded for a guy like Dylan Tate, I was told he was the future. I was told, trying to think, Scan, can you name some pitching guys that there's one guy,
God.
Chance Adams. I was told that Chance Adams
yeah.
I was told that Chance Adams was the future. That was like 2 years ago. Chance Adams isn't even on the Yankees anymore. So
I think he was with the Royals for a while.
Yeah.
He might have been last year.
Yeah, I think it was the Royals, yeah.
But they hyped him
And
up so much, and now he's not even there.
It's like you said, yeah. I think a lot of Yankee fans, we have our potential excitement for guys like pitching prospects like that. But the one thing that I find with pitching prospects, like they could just any prospect really is that they could phase out like that. I really think unless you have like the biggest of the big names, then it's not worth getting your hopes too high. And the Yankees haven't had those kind of names in pitching in a while. I think they're really, even though they have like high rated prospects, Jason Dominguez is the guy that everyone is freaking out about right now. And that's really the only prospect guy that Yankee fans are like, you know what? I think this guy can come up and be super valuable right now. Because even the last few years, they had guys that were coming up through the system. They had this stacked farm, and they either kept some of those guys or shipped them out in a lot of those trades where they sent some of those veterans over and they're trying to flip things over. And a lot of those guys that we were looking at that could have been solid outfielders for him, gone like that on other teams too. Like I always think of Dustin Fowler.
He just made what team is he on now? He just made the team. He had a really bad injury a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, he had the injury, and then they shipped him off to the A's. Yeah, and then he struggled with them for a little bit, but I'm not even sure what's happening with him. The Yankees have had a couple players where like they were somewhat in that, like they were big names they're keeping eyes out on. Either they held on to them or shipped them and they kind of faded out, like Florial. Few guys have had, they're just like, I don't get my hopes too high on prospects with the Yankees.
The fact that Luis Severino was a hyped pitching prospect, came up and pitched well, and is still with the Yankees speaks volumes to how good he actually is, because the Yankees haven't had anyone like that in a very long time. Like Jabba Chamberlain was like that. Phil Hughes was like that. They came up and had a good season or two with the Yankees, and then faded out, went on their separate ways. But if you're listening to this and you're a big Jason Dominguez fan, just let the guy play professional baseball first before you get super hyped about him. I mean, he's 18 now. He just turned 18. He hasn't played any professional games. He's literally only taken batting practice. So let him play a little bit before you call him the next Mike Trout, please. As a Yankee,
the comps are to the moon, and even though as dumb as it sounds, the guy looks like a physical specimen. Looks like he could just like make my head explode like a watermelon with just his bicep. Just go like this, put my head in there, my head would go with how strong he is, and the fact that he's that young is crazy to think about. But yeah, never want to get your hopes too high. Crazy comps is just gonna set you up for disappointment. And with a guy like Dominguez, he could be a very nice player. Expecting that high out of any player that young is gonna get in their head. It's gonna get in his head in the future, and it's just like hopefully the expectations aren't too high down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really hyped up nowadays, and like I think one of his baseball cards is Topps Chrome. I think it goes for a couple thousand. It's crazy.
Mhm.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, hey, everyone wants his cards. His cards in the packs and such. They have like those are like the crazy ones, right? Like the crazies of the crazy right now. I feel like
Yeah.
even though we have a ton of rookies up there, like coming up in the league this year, everyone wants Dominguez.
Yeah, and I he just turned 18, I think, too, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yep.
just turned 18, and he hasn't played a game in their system. So
Yeah.
crazy early to make these comparisons,
Exactly.
but you know.
Oh, for sure, man. For
Mhm.
sure.
But you know, you never know what happens in baseball, which is always fun. We'll see how he develops these next few years, and just in general, overall with the Yankees. I mean, I think it's safe to say that the Yankees would be everyone's favorites to win the division like 9 times out of 10. I think
yeah.
most of us
Yeah.
could agree they're the favorites on paper. They're one of the best couple leagues. I mean, teams, if not the best team in the AL right now, on paper. But obviously, in typical Yankee fashion, things could start to go downhill. Yeah, it kind of already has technically with Luke Voigt going down. So like, the Yankees are a scary team, but also you never know what can happen. They could be. I think they're a lock for the playoffs, but they're just not. You never know what's going to happen. Like, how good are they going to be is based on their health, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, the injury bug's always the issue with the Yankees, especially the last couple of years.
It's
Definitely.
been annoying and stressful.
Always.
Yep.
Always.
As long as I've been watching baseball, the Yankees have been getting hurt.
Yep. They can get a good team on paper, you know, whether they build it up, buy the pieces
Oh, yeah.
that they need, and then, you know, can they stay healthy? That's a lot of the question. And if
Yeah.
all things line up there, they're definitely your AL favorites to make the World Series.
I
sure.
agree, 100%.
On paper for sure. Yeah.
Exclamation point on the on paper, because
Yeah.
you know, and it could we could be talking 2 weeks down the road. If they are the Yankees even going to make the playoffs?
Exactly.
'Cause you never know how it
Yeah.
goes with their luck.
They got Derek Dietrich at short, Mike Ford starting at first base. But yeah.
I know for a fact I wasn't expecting Tampa Bay to make the World Series last year. I mean,
Mhm.
at the start of the year, right? So I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. But right
Yeah.
now, absolutely, definitely, probably the first team.
Now that is a perfect segue to your Tampa Bay Rays. That's next in the alphabet. If no one else has anything else to say about the Yankees, so I'll go. I'm gonna reintroduce the wrong mouse.
Wait, can I swear on stream?
Yeah.
Fuck the Yankees. That's all.
Yes, sir.
And now, with that, we will talk about probably the most slept-on team in the American League, in my opinion, the
Always
Tampa
has
Bay
been.
Rays. Yeah, exactly. So the Rays are going to pitch their way to the postseason. Sorry, not sorry about it. Listen, so their starting rotation, they've got some options. They've got the most overrated pitcher in baseball, in Tyler Glass now. Maybe he can win the Cy Young this year. Maybe he's going to have a 5 ERA. We will see. If you're listening to this and you have listened to this, you know that I'm not high on him. Chris Archer is going to be another starter for them. Old guy Rich Hill. He's going to throw curveballs every pitch and continue to get outs in the league for them. They also picked up Michael Wacha. Throws one of the nastiest changeups in the league. He's going to probably bounce back because it's the Rays. That's what they do. Ryan Yarbrough, soft-tossing left-hander, is going to pitch pretty well for them in that rotation. They also picked up Colin McHugh. He's started before. He's been a reliever before. Yeah, so the rotation might not jump out at you, but that doesn't matter because the bullpen's going to jump out at you. They've got Diego Castillo going to be their closer this year with the Nick Anderson injury. I'm not sure when Nick Anderson's going to come back. I think it's at some point this year. I don't think he's missing the whole year. They also have Peter Fairbanks pitched really well for them in the postseason. Andrew Kittredge, like I said, Colin McHugh is probably going to pitch out of the bullpen for them some. Chaz Rowe, we've all seen the highlights of Chaz Rowe's slider, one of the nastiest pitchers in baseball. Jeffrey Springs, Ryan Thompson. I feel like the MLB.com is missing some guys. But yeah, that's what they've got listed here. Hold on, let me go.
Have you mentioned Yarbrough yet?
Yeah,
Ryan
soft tossing
Yarbrough?
left-hander, Ryan
Mhm.
Yarbrough.
He was
Um,
kind of a two-way guy. He started and also was reliever, from my knowledge.
Oh,
But
they
I bet
also
you did the
have
same thing with him.
yeah. They also have Luis Patino, who Nolan mentioned earlier. He's going to get some starts for them this year, probably. He's probably going to pitch really well for them this year. Brendan McKay, if you play on MLB The Show, you know all about him. He's going to come. He'll probably be at some point this year. Pitch pretty well. Trevor Richards is a pickup from the Marlins, I think.
I think it was the Pirates.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm thinking of
Or
a
no.
different Richards. Aren't I?
Or it might be. I don't really know. It's either Cubs or
look.
the Pirates, something like that. Yeah, scan do that up, please.
Yep, got it.
Oh, Oliver Drake is on the IL right now. He's
Marlins.
probably going to come and pitch for them.
Uh,
Yeah. So they're missing a few guys in the bullpen, but for them that doesn't really matter because it's the Rays. They just, no matter who's on the mound for the Rays, they're going to pitch well. It's almost a guarantee. It's really annoying. I hate when I'm able to watch a Yankee game and I have to watch the Yankees play the Rays. It makes me upset because I hate watching the Yankees play the Rays. Because I don't like the Rays. I don't like the way the Rays play baseball because they're damn good at the way they do it. But I don't think it's good for the sport because they pay guys as little as they can, ship them away as soon as they get paid and as soon as they're good. And it's really annoying because you don't know who they are. You've never heard of them, but they're going to strike out Giancarlo Stanton, Gary Sanchez, and Aaron Judge all the
Yeah.
time.
Moneyball extreme.
I mean, I'd never heard of Peter Fairbanks until the postseason, and he
Same.
was really good in the postseason. I loved it when he striked out Alex Bregman whenever he had like 2 or 3 runners on in Game 7 of the Worlds, in Game 7 of the ALCS. I just absolutely love that. That's what had me really sold on Peter Fairbanks. He throws heat, and I just love this guy. I think he's probably going to be their closer, or at least their setup man for the season. Along with Diego Castillo, because Nick Anderson's down. It says he's on the IL for 60 days, so they're going to be like the stable of that bullpen for now.
Mm-hmm. And the thing with the Rays as well is like a lot of times they don't even play one closer. They have so many guys. They usually do the closer by committee kind of thing. So even when Nick Anderson was on a team, he wasn't even closing all the games. So they were like shifting back and forth with everything. So like. The thing that is so frustrating with the Rays as a fan of the Yankees, like we were talking about how the Yankees on paper have a really good team, and you know things could potentially happen where things don't go their way, and it hurts them this year. The Rays are literally the exact opposite, where if you look at their roster on paper, you're like, this guy hasn't panned out with other teams. This guy, who even is this guy? I don't even know what this player's doing starting on his team. And they somehow turn into like absolute studs.
Yeah.
And they always make it work. And as a Yankee fan, it's frustrating because they're consistently winning with a team like this against the Yankees.
Yep.
And the Yankees build up this team of stars. And it's like they're doing everything right in terms of trying to build a team, and it just doesn't work. And in the Rays, you know, they pick up these guys and then, you know, oh, hey, we'll find some spot for you and you make you very good on our team.
Exactly.
Somehow. 'Cause it's how it happens. Like, there's always a spot for you. Like, they make you good. And I don't know how they do it. I don't know what
Like
juice they're drinking, but
they did that with Aaron
Moneyball.
Loop. They did that with
They
Aaron
did that with
Loop.
Aaron Loop.
He was great in 2020, and he was really good in the postseason too. And now he's going to the Mets. I think he's on the Mets.
Yeah, he's on the Mets.
He was terrible with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and then he was just amazing with the Rays. That's just what happens. You can't explain it, man.
You talking about how the Yankees are like built up this super team, basically. The Rays let the Yankees build up this super team, and then they're like, all right, so we see you. Now we're going to build a team that exploits all of your weaknesses. The Rays are built to beat the Yankees. It just happens to be
they're the anti-Yankees.
Because they're built to beat the Yankees. I mean, they have all these hard-throwing right-handers that are going to get the Judge and Stanton and all those guys out. They just happen to get other teams out too, which is why they end up so good. So if you're a team and you're bad, just formulate your team to beat the Dodgers or the Yankees, and you're going to end up being pretty good because that's what the Rays do. It's just entirely what they're built on is to beat the Yankees, and the Yankees suck against the Rays, and it's so annoying. We could talk about it all day. I mean, Ryan Sheriff, Jeffrey Springs, they're probably going to have under a 1 ERA, pitch 50 innings for them, and throw the nastiest
probably
pitches
throw
you've ever
200 miles an hour.
Exactly.
You know how it's going to happen.
So, yeah, I mean, a couple guys. I think Rich Hill pitched decently for the Twins last year, but he's probably going to pitch even better for the Rays now. Michael Wacha's had a very up and down career. He might win the Cy Young for the Rays now, just because that's what they do. So unless anyone has anything else about the pitching, this offense is definitely not going to catch your eye, but it's not terrible either. They have power hitting, low average hitting. Mike Zunino is going to be their starting catcher, along with Francisco Mejia back up behind the plate. At first base, Garrett Cole's ERA just went down a full point because Ji-Man Choi is going to miss the month of April with an injury. So he's not going to hit his first 6 home runs against Garrett Cole this year. You never wish an injury upon anyone, but I think Garrett Cole is probably pleased to see that. So maybe Mike Brasso is going to be their starting first baseman, or Yandy Diaz. Mike Brasso, of course, ended the Yankee season last year. Brandon Lau is going to be over at second base. Willie Adames, pretty good shortstop for them until Wander Franco comes up. And then, of course, at third base, I think it's going to be Joey Wendell, with Brasso and Diaz playing first and third a little bit everywhere. Then in the outfield, they have some motherfucker named Randy. Is he the greatest player ever to exist, or is he just some guy? We really have no idea yet. In center field, of course, they have very good defensive outfielder Kevin Kiermaier. Can he hit enough? We're not sure yet. No, we are sure. He can't hit enough, but because of his defense, he plays. Manny Margot and Austin Meadows are going to split time at right field / DH, I think. Austin Meadows is probably going to be more of a DH for them, while Manny Margot plays right field. Then, of course, they have World Series hero Brett Phillips. Of course, had that walk-off
former
hit.
Royal.
Yes.
The former Royal.
And a big guy in the MLB The Show community on Twitch.
Yes.
You guys
exactly.
happen to not know, in and out in the Twitch community on there.
Legend Brett Phillips for them on the bench. And then, of course, Yoshi Tsutsugo, one of the very few times they ever paid anyone. He came over from the Asian leagues last year. MLB The Show legend. I absolutely rake with his bronze card.
He's good.
Yeah. So this offense isn't going to jump out at you, but they're going to hit enough, like I said. Brendan Lau, of course, had a great year. Randy Arozarena might be the greatest player of all time. Austin Meadows is going to bounce back. Austin Meadows dealt with a lot of COVID stuff last year, which hurt him a lot. So if you're sleeping on the Rays, wake the fuck up.
Yeah, I think one name that we could be really talking about completely different by the end of this year, Francisco Mejia, who they got from the Padres in that Coutinho trade. And obviously they shipped over Blake Snell, but if the Rays are targeting a bat like Francisco Mejia, who was supposed to be a young guy, a young catcher who was supposed to come up and be a solid hitter at the start, it had to pan out in San Diego. Now getting an opportunity with the Rays, he could either be a backup to Zunino. I mean, I said Zunino like Scuffy McGee, damn it. Zunino, or he could get some starting time this year. The Rays always find some way to make any player who hasn't panned out on another team into a stud. And that was a guy that was supposed to be a stud catcher for a while. And, he could turn into a beast in a matter of months, knowing the Rays.
Hadn't thought about that, but if you do a trade with the Rays, in the Padres' defense, they got it makes sense for both sides, because even if Mejia's the best catcher to ever live, they got Blake Snell, so it was good for them. But just don't trade with the Rays, man. Yeah,
the Rays are going to win every trade, pretty much. Except for maybe the Alvarado one. That one's kind of iffy because he's been good in the past. But I think it's just been injuries that has been his issue. That's why they shipped him off to Philly. But we'll have to see about that.
Mm-hmm. And I think a big factor is Randy Arozarena. Is he actually one of the best players in the league based off that postseason? Is he going to actually perform at that level? Is he just, I bet you he's going to be at least solid, but having expectations that high on someone as young as him is never something you want to set, I don't think. So I don't think you can expect him to perform that well, but it absolutely can happen. So, which is terrifying.
Yeah. At least we can say that Randy Arozarena is easily the greatest postseason performer in MLB history.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he qualifies for Rookie of the Year and he owns the postseason record for most home runs in a single postseason and most hits in a postseason, it's just insane.
I saw that on Twitter. Yeah, I saw that on Twitter too. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. You can't not love him, though.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's going into his third year and he's still going to be considered a rookie this year.
Yeah, he just hasn't played enough games in the regular season.
Yeah, no, I know exactly. It's interesting.
And yeah, the one thing as a Yankee fan that's so frustrating about the Rays is that like I can't like hate them. Like even when like last year when they had their beef with the Yankees and their bullpen stuff, you know, when Michael Brasso was hitting taters off for a roll as Chapman, even me as a Yankee fan, I was like, this is literally the most storybook ending to this season. Like this is how the Yankees would lose. Chapman throws at a player's head in the ninth inning of some random game versus the Rays. It starts this whole, I mean, it continues or escalates this whole beef between them. And lo and behold, in the playoffs, Michael Brasso is the one, basically ending the Yankees season. So it's like, as a Yankee fan, it's like, there's no way that could have happened any other way. Like, he wasn't going to get Brasso out. That was just destiny. And it's just like, well, got to tip the cap at that point.
Big time karma.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Big time.
You said you can't like hate the Rays. I just think the Rays get such a good rap in the MLB community for like being the best run franchise, all this shit. Like they're such a darling. Everyone wants to be like the Rays. That's why I fucking hate the Rays, because I don't think their brand of baseball. That's why I don't think their brand of baseball is good for the sport. They don't pay anyone. Like they don't. Like, if you're a Rays fan, like, who do you root for? They traded away their best franchise player ever in Evan Longoria. Like,
Yep.
It just makes me so mad.
No, that I agree with. Absolutely.
Yeah, me
Like-
too.
And the reason it's bad for the sport, not just because they don't pay anyone, other teams follow them and they don't pay anyone either. Like, if
No,
you're.
it's I feel like the Moneyball mentality is the reason why, and especially with, like the Rays, because like their payroll is like historically has always been like near the bottom of the barrel, and I feel like that's the reason we need a salary floor. Is there's just so much of a gap between the lowest paying team and the highest paying team, which this year will be the Dodgers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Dodgers and Rays.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's like, I agree with that. I think just like, as much as, you know, the Rays are successful, I think, you know, just the style of baseball is, you know, just as for a lot of general baseball fans, is an issue in terms of kind of baseball they play. You know, first of all, the teams they build are very personality based. It's a lot of just like focus on the team, be a role player on your team, and that's your purpose. At least it feels that way. But also, even like beyond that, just they play the most like sabermetrically driven baseball basically out of the league, it feels like. And
Yep.
they've taken everything to the extreme with the openers starting baseball games and saying starting pitchers in a lot of scenarios, them being very dramatic with their shifts. And they were leaders of that trend for a while. I think they're still one of the most shifting teams out there. They play the very home run, strikeout, walk style baseball, which, you know, a lot of modern fans aren't the biggest fans of just because it's not the most exciting to watch. You don't have that super crazy fun baseball like you used to when you were trying to only hit homers, and the Rays are one of those teams that go all in on that. So as much as, you know, they're successful, they don't have personalities to make you hate them. It's like, yeah, that style of baseball potentially is like one of the biggest issues with the game today.
Yeah, and they don't have the personality. You don't have the personality like to hate them, but you also don't have the personality like them a lot. Like I feel personally that they're just a very, I don't know if bland would be the right word.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. I mean, if you're a Rays fan, like, who do you root for on this? Like, you root for the players on the team now, but who are you going to root for in the long term? Like, if like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm just going to use this kind of analogy, but as a Yankee fan growing up, like, I grew up, every year I could be like, oh, Derek Jeter's on the Yankees, A-Rod's on the Yankees, Cano's on the Yankees, all this stuff. And I had that for a long time growing up, which made me, you know, fall in love with the team even more. And obviously the Rays don't have that many fans. It's not the same as being a Yankees fan, but like they don't have that. Tyler Glasnow, one of the most hyped pitchers in baseball right now, not going to be there forever. As soon as he hits his second year of arbitration, he's gone. I mean, you can love G-Man Choi because he rakes against Garrett Cole. He's going to be gone in at least 2 years.
I think Kiermaier's your only real shot, and it's just because
Yeah.
he's not good enough to be a high market player.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's
He's
not good
strong.
enough to
He's
get
a
around.
really he's a really good defensive player, but he can't hit. Like, well, he can hit, but he's just not that good, right? So I mean, like, what I see, like he's not valuable enough that like he's going to be getting paid more than Tampa Bay is willing to pay him, I guess. So I could see him possibly out of any player on the Rays right now. Kiermaier has the best chance at like spending his whole career with Tampa, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's the franchise player.
He is. He would be. But I mean, at one point, I would have thought it would be Longoria, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
But, I mean, Longoria was also a lot better player than Kiermaier, so
Yeah. What's
at
gonna
least
be
on the, at least
interesting-
yeah, because I mean, I guess I mean, Kiermaier is obviously great with the glove, but I mean, Longoria was as well, and Longoria had like the bat skills that Kiermaier doesn't.
No, agreed. Longoria was near MVP caliber. He was an MVP, right? 1 year, or
I think
very close to it. I think he won an MVP 1 year. If I remember.
I don't think he
Or
won.
close
He
to
won Rookie of the Year in
Rookie of the year,
2008.
that's what it was. It was something like
Yeah,
that. He was
that's right.
competitive in
Yeah.
that stuff.
He won a couple Silver Sluggers and Gold
yeah,
Gloves.
not MVP. Yeah, you're right.
All-Star.
Yeah. But
That-
yeah, so Longoria, I think, was like the close to like a face player. Him and David Price were probably those two guys that you were like the faces of that franchise. Now,
Those
what's-
are who I remember growing up as like as a young kid watching Blue Jays baseball. If you're watching them play the Rays, you're watching like Longoria, Price.
Yeah, and like now you look at the guys they have coming through. I mean, obviously Randy Arozarena had a crazy postseason.
Yeah, I mean,
Is he going to be
besides-
that new face? They got Wander Franco coming through the system, who's like one of the most hyped prospects. Or
Yeah.
how are they going to treat those guys? How are they going to pan out?
Yeah,
And
sa-
it's really interesting to think about.
Like
same
those-
with like Xavier Edwards too, and like those other prospects they have.
like I can almost say with 100% confidence, like those guys that we just talked, Randy Rose. Well, Arozarena can't play his whole career in Tampa because he was technically a Cardinal. But you know, if he were to play the rest of his, let's say he were to play the rest of his career as a Ray, it's just I can say with certainty that's not going to happen. I can say with certainty that a guy like Adames isn't going to spend the rest of his career in Tampa. Same with Wander Franco, even though he hasn't played a game for them yet. As soon as they start making unless they take like some uber friendly team deal like Longo did, which is the only reason he was there for as long as he was, because he took that Tampa friendly deal. But I think a lot of players say that's not good for the sport anymore. Like if they take a team friendly deal, that's just going to make other people get paid less money that they deserve. So that's why they just piss me off so much. I'm like, I'm not sorry about it either. I just think it's terrible for the game.
Yep, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Now if anyone
like
has,
if you're
Go ahead.
good, we're not paying you. It's basically their mentality.
Exactly.
I mean, like I said, like Kiermaier, like he's just kind of like especially in recent years, he's been sort of like as he gets a little bit older, he'd be like a 2 WAR per year player. I mean, if you're any better than that, really, they're not going to want to pay you.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if anyone has, unless anyone else has anything to say, we can talk about Eric's Toronto Blue Jays. They've been mentioned a lot so far. We haven't gone over their whole roster yet. So
just pull that up there.
yeah, Eric.
This
take
is
it away.
on courtesy of MLB.com. Like it doesn't tell me who's in the who you're starting like rotation and stuff, but I'll kind of go through that. So we have Travis Bergen, I'm not sure. Ryan Barucki, Tyler Chatwood, recently picked up. Got Rafael Dolis is back. Thomas Hatch, Anthony Kay, Steven Matz, who they got from the Mets there. This is Julian Merriweather.
Yep.
Nate Pearson, who's currently injured. David Phelps, Robbie Ray, Tanner O'Rourke, Jordan Romano, Hyunjin Ryu, Ross Stripling, Trent Thornton, Kirby Yates, who we'll mention is probably out for the season with Tommy John, and TJ Zoik, who recently broke Big League Squad. So,
I'll let
yeah,
you
what
give
are
your
your guys'
thoughts first. I'll let you go
My
first.
Okay. yeah, sure. So, as far as the rotation goes, I mean, I feel like we've already mentioned what needs to be mentioned as far as like it's not that good. Like their pitching is definitely what they're lacking, but I do feel like they made a couple good pickups, and it seems like this spring that what's his name there, Steven Matz has had quite the spring. So if he can possibly bounce back to like was it like 2016? Was it he had a good season? I feel like he had one good season, didn't he? A few
His
years
rookie
back?
year.
This is his rookie year. Yeah, I think so. But their pitching coach, Pete Walker's like one of the best in the business. So if he can work some of his black magic, then you never know. As far as Mats goes, another guy I wanted to mention is Dolis, because I feel like since Kirby Yates is probably out for the year, Dolis was kind of I want to say he led the Blue Jays in saves last year, even though it was a shortened season. And he really was. He had a little bit of a shaky start with them. They just picked him up from over, I don't remember if it was Korea, Japan.
I think it was the Japan League.
Japan, because he played, he was like a reliever, like literally, like I'm pretty sure he was -4 for his career, like not that good. And then he went over to Japan. He could possibly be one of these success stories of people who kind of rejuvenated their career. He's 33, so he does still have a few years left in the tank, especially as a relief pitcher. He doesn't throw like super hard, so I like him personally. Like Dolis is probably could be almost the diamond in the rough, as we could say. There it is again.
Ba-bang.
Wabam.
Bazinga.
What are your guys' thoughts on these guys here?
I really like this, I like this rotation more than I like the bullpen. We're a big fan of Ryu. We talked about
I
the
love
top
Ryu.
10 pitchers list. Like we didn't think originally that he should be in the top 10, but after looking at his numbers the last couple years, he definitely should be there.
He was second in Cy Young 2019 and third last year.
Yeah.
And I like him too because he's just different. He's that like I'm pretty sure his main pitch is like a changeup, right? Like you just don't see that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I like pitchers that are different, like sort of than what most people are.
Yeah.
One thing I'll mention with Dolis as well is he was like, I don't know if any of you've watched like a game live when he pitches, but he's just so slow. Like he'll literally take like Dolis is literally the face of MLB pitch clock. Like I swear. But I like Simeon Woods Richardson there. I seen a video posted on Reddit. It was a 3-pitch at bat. I don't know if it was. I want to say it might have been Gary Sanchez even. Spring training. Yeah, it was a 3-pitch strikeout in the complete like from first pitch to third pitch, like uncut video was. I'm pretty sure it was right about 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's what you'd mentioned to me.
Yeah. Like he just works so fast that I like that. Like, because I mean, in all honesty, I'd rather just watch the Blue Jays put up a bunch of runs on the board and get the pitching done out of the way. And 3 up, 3 down. Okay, we're done.
Yeah, just nice and quick.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you said that Nate Pearson's injured, right?
Yeah, he has it was a grade 1 groin strain, I believe. I'm not sure if it still is because he's been out for a while now. And I think he was almost back, and then he might have re-aggravated it, but he's out. I think he's on the. I don't think he's day to day. I'm pretty sure he's on the
probably like the 30-day IL.
I don't know if it might be. I think it's the 10-day. Yeah, it's 10, isn't it now? It used to be 15, I know, but I think it's 10 now. So
that's not bad.
No, it is not. And Zoic there had a good spring too, so I feel like putting him in the rotation along with Mats, a couple guys that possibly could work out for them. Honestly,
I'm really high on Nate Pearson. I really like.
Oh yeah, I like Pearson, but I think I'm higher on SWR just because Pearson seems to, at least so far, like he really doesn't have much experience, right? Like he doesn't have much. Like how many innings did he pitch in the minors? Let's look it up really quick on his baseball reference. Nate Pearson in the minor leagues only pitched 195. Oh no, 123 innings.
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's not even. That's not even, and that's spread out from 2017 to 2019.
Jesus, really?
That's bad.
And he plus 50. Yeah, because he got drafted in 2017, and he started right up in 2017. Played for rookie and for low A or whatever. So yeah, and then next year he played for high A. And then, 2019, he played for everything from high A to triple A and pitched 101 innings in total.
Wow.
Yeah. that year.
That's
So,
crazy.
I mean, really,
You think
and
he'd have
I
more
guess-
innings?
Yeah, I guess the bulk of it, I guess looking at it further now, I guess, 101 out of those 123 innings were all in 2019. In 2017, in total, he pitched 20 innings. And he must have been hurt for 2018 because he only pitched 1.2 innings.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not something that you want to see on a guy's
No, it's
baseball
really
reference
not. No, that's really not. Like,
Yeah.
I knew it was low, but I didn't think it was only 123 innings. And I mean, realistically, you got drafted mid-season in 2017, so that's only half a year. In 2018 was a washout. So I've said this.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna go really quick. I've been saying this pretty much since these came up that I really do think in like 3 or 4 years' time, it's gonna end up being that Nate Pearson's like a closer who just throws 100. And it's just is what it is. Kind of the same as Orioles Chapman. 'Cause remember, I think at one point weren't they going to try and turn him into a starter when he first came over?
He was a starter when he
Chapman
first came over
up
with the
as a
Red
starter.
Sox.
Yeah, he was a starter, and then they moved him to the bullpen, and he's been lights out. And I feel like Pearson could be the same thing, and he can focus on throwing hard, but like he's just like his upper body's just not developed. Like he looks like a child. I don't know if you've seen. He's got like huge tree trunk legs, and then he's just got like just a small, wiry like upper body. Like it's weird. So I feel like
I could see Pearson in that role.
Yeah. But do you guys have any more takes on the starting rotation? Should we move on to the position players here?
I was just gonna say, I think before I give my take on the pitching real quick, I'll let Scan go because I kind of mentioned mine already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the pitching staff was, I think one of the things that a lot of general Jays fans I've talked to have kind of overlooked. Like I think the staff can go out there and compete, but I don't think you look at that staff and like you don't feel comfortable with that pitching staff. A lot of question marks. Guys who have succeeded before, but also haven't succeeded in a while.
Yeah, you have like especially like Robbie Ray, Tanner Roark. Like both of those guys had solid years. Like not Cy Young years, but like I'm pretty sure both of them had a season under 3. I mean, I know ERA is not the best, but I know like Tanner Roark had like a couple like really solid years back in like 2017. But I mean, he's getting up there in age. His velocity's dipping. He's just not the same pitcher he was. I mean, like I said, like he started like a really solid spring. Like he was like no runs through like I think it was 5 or 6 innings, but now he's 2-1 with an ERA of 8.44. He got shelled, I know, against the Yankees.
Yeah,
it's like I think they're not bad, but they aren't crazy. And I know a lot of people I've talked to have their hopes high on the Jays. And I think that mostly lays in the offense and
I think it does.
Young guys coming to form and I mean even the bullpen too still has its large amount of question marks. So
especially with Yates gone too. Like that's the thing is with Yates is like is Dolis going to be able to? And I think there's another name that possibly Romano. I think is he saved some for Toronto too last year. I believe. I don't know as much about him as I do Dolis, but if Dolis can step up, is the really big thing. Like he had a good 2020. Like I mean, after like a rough like first couple appearances, he didn't give up a run the whole year. I don't think.
Yeah, it's interesting because with the Jays showed last year, it was a shortened season that they could win. Like they were up at fighting the top of the division with the Yankees for like the entire season.
Yep.
And they've shown that they could win. So we'll see if they can do that again. And honestly, you could think about even if they are competing for the top division, then making some moves to try to add to that pitching staff and bolster that up at the deadline and try to, make that push. Because I think they're at that point where these young guys have shown they could perform and some of them could start to develop and have start turning into the studs they're projected to be.
I think
go all in on your window at that point.
Absolutely. I think the quality of their team right now, it's not necessarily the same like makeup as it was in 2015, but I feel like they're kind of the same, like right now as it is, they're all slightly above 500 team. I think they were right at 500 at the deadline in 2015, and then they might have made a bunch of crazy moves and they ended up being first in the division. And
I remember that year sucked as a Yankee fan. 15. Oh my god!
Yeah,
it made those moves and
it was bittersweet as a Blue Jays fan.
Them.
It was great. It was great. They made the playoffs. ALDS was like first 2 games, you're like, oh shit, this is serious. And then they got the next 3, and then everybody knows what happened after that. There, like
I'm sorry, Eric. I'm sorry, Eric. I feel this with Nolan on a personal level because we bring it back to 2014 all the time when we beat the Angels in the 2014 postseason. It's just crazy, man. I'm so sorry.
This
I just like start cracking a smile. I was like, yeah, there it is. You already know.
I mean, the Blue Jays pitching leaves a lot to be desired. I think that's why I just think they're so similar to the Red Sox. Like let's say Chris Sale was healthy this year. Chris Sale, Hyun-Jin Ryu, kind of like obviously they pitch very differently, but the same kind, like the same type of
both get hurt a little
same
bit.
level of pitcher. So like they're kind of the same team. I don't know.
No, I
get that comparison.
Yeah, you have these pitchers. I mean, I think the difference between, with the exception of like Semien and Springer, every player on this team is really, really young.
Yeah.
As far
exactly.
as far as hitters go, I'm talking at least.
I mean, this team has the chance to win the division. A lot would have to go wrong with other teams, but they do have the chance.
I feel like it falls on them possibly having a couple of these pitchers break out and maybe picking up another 1 or 2 at the deadline, and the Yankees maybe Stanton and Judge get hurt again. That's probably what it would take.
And we don't
That's not
want
crazy
that.
expectations, though. That's the thing. It's not that crazy to expect that.
No, it's not. That's why I said Stanton and Judge. I didn't say Sanchez and Void or something. Right? Like Cole.
Yeah.
I guess Void is hurt. Bad example, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad that the Blue Jays, real quick before we move on to their offense, I'm glad the Blue Jays have Tanner Roark and Robbie Ray because all of the Yankees players' averages and slugging percentage just went up.
Especially Roark.
Yeah,
Roark had a bad year last year, man. That's circa 2009 Josh Towers. Like, I think it was 2009. He had a really bad year trying to be a 5-hole starter, and like it killed his career. Yeah. So 2006, 8.42 ERA.
Oof.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about their offense? We can start with
fastest
hands in the West. Yes, catcher Reese McGuire.
My man's. My second favorite catcher on the Blue Jays. So we'll start with the catchers there. We got Danny Jansen. Obviously, he's going to be the starting catcher for the team. I don't think there's any surprises there. Young Alejandro Kirk, the 500.
My man's. Oh,
5'8", 265-pound miniature brick shithouse.
The mini fridge.
And then obviously old Tug McGuire. I don't think he's. I don't know what they're doing. Because I mean, if you look at like every team, like they have 2 catchers, and Toronto has 3 right now. And I really think it's a lot of that falls on whether Biggio can stay healthy. Because once again, like I mentioned earlier, and I was kind of sort of foreshadowing what I was going to say about Biggio during this little segment here. With Kirk and Jansen, I know they want Jansen as their main guy because he calls a great game and he's really like definitely the best defensive catcher that Toronto has. He's not the best of the bat. Has shown a little pop here and there, but he's really not the best of the bat. But if you have him starting catching and you want to put Kirk as a DH, then if Jansen gets hurt, you don't have to forfeit the DH. I mean, is Reese McGuire better than a pitcher at hitting? I don't know. But that's one way to look at it. I mean, I'm pretty sure Reese McGuire has to be down there with like Jeff Mathis and like some of those guys that like hitting. Like,
yeah.
I would not be surprised if Zach Greinke gets more hits this year than Reese McGuire. But
well, the thing is, I think Reese McGuire's out of options because when I listened to one of those Talking Baseball podcasts,
that's the whole reason he's still there. Even otherwise, they would have just yeah, exactly. They're gonna have to DFA him or something, but
trade him to the Astros. That would make sense.
Yes. The Jays and the Astros trade so much. It's actually kind of crazy if you follow it. So many of these, like Teoscar Hernandez, Lourdes Gurriel, they both came from the Astros. I'm trying to think who else. I know there's
Well,
more
you had
guys.
Ken
Maybe,
Giles. He came from the Astros.
yeah, we had
they'll
Ken
doing a
Giles.
deal.
The funniest part about all this is that we traded away Francisco Liriano to get Teoscar Hernandez, and then we ended up with Francisco Liriano again. But they got rid of him. Liriano, I don't know why. I don't know if I never even looked at his spring stats or anything, but he must have had a rough spring because really, how hard can it be to be part of like a lefty in the Blue Jays bullpen? Yeah.
That's true.
And he had no earned runs in 7 innings in spring training, and they got rid of him. That's crazy. That's actually nuts. He helped the playoff push. I think it was 2016 for the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you guys? Any more thoughts on catchers before we move on to the rest of the infield there?
Kirk is my man's. That's all I have to say.
Kirk could possibly. I think if yeah. So if you DH like Kirk, then you have the rest of the infield. That's Bichette at short. Obviously, Kevin Biggio, the utility man himself. He's playing third this year for the most part. You got Vladdy over at first, / a little bit at third. I know Montoya said that if it's like a really tough lefty or something like that, he might give Biggio the day off and put Vlad over at first or over at third. You got Semien at second. You got Rowdy Tellez at first as well / DH. And then you have Breivik Valera, who I'm going to be completely honest, never heard of him.
Yankee legend Breivik Valera. No Valera slander in this podcast.
Where do you guys see that? I don't see that here.
I don't know. I'm looking at
It's
MLB.com.
I'm on MLB.com too.
On active roster.
Oh, I'm on the depth chart. Never mind.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
going through, I guess Bo Bichette, obviously, like could arguably be between him and Vlad. Either one of them is the most exciting prospect on the team. Nobody knows which one it is. Obviously, shortstop, great hitting shortstops, obviously, definitely a premium. And I feel like, especially with like Tatis and Lindor now wanting a big signing as well, Blue Jays are going to have to either pay up or they're going to end up being like the Rays. And I really do feel bad because they have all these young talent and they're not going to be able to afford all of them. So
No,
I feel like there will be a day of reckoning in a couple of years, and they're going to have to decide between Bichette and Guerrero. And I feel like these next 2 or 3 years or so, I don't remember what year it is that they're eligible.
It's not for
2 years. It's 2024, 2025 season. I think is the first year they'll be a free agent.
I would kind of compare this, like you talked about, like the little group of guys that they have, like that they won't be able to keep everybody. That kind of reminds me of the Chicago Cubs, like with what they're doing with Rizzo and Baez. They're not going to be able to keep them all.
Exactly. You have
No, I
Brian.
agree with that.
You have Baez.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
That's why they pay the
You
big
have
bucks, Nick.
They have a deep core of young guys, and even not all of them are going to pan out over a couple years. There's a chance, a couple of them are going to start to struggle performing consistently. But on paper, they have a really nice young core, and they build around that bunch with like the pitching staff, and I think they got a great team there, especially in that infield. That infield is just super fun with Biggio, Vlad, and Bo. That's exciting. That's an exciting
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just take out Semien and you're fine.
Semien.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sold on Semien. I really don't know. Personally,
I don't think-
they
I don't
end
think
up.
anybody-
We're not a Semien pod.
Okay,
We're not a
no.
Semien pod.
We can trash
It's like-
Semien if we want to.
I can trash him too, but like, in my opinion, the way I look at it is, if you wanted to put Biggio at third and like sign a second baseman, like, I don't know, but I feel like there would have been better options. So they could have put their money, because they signed him for like $18 million, and like
That's
he had
too
an
much.
off year. He's coming off. It's too much coming off an off year. If you had another year like 2019 last year, and he had like 12, 15 home runs in the shortened season and batted 280 or something, then
It'd be a different story. It'd be a
But
different story.
he had an off year, and he's been pretty much. I'm pretty sure he has an OPS plus below 100 every year except that 2019.
I'd rather have Joe Panic at second base than
I was
Marcus
thinking
Semien.
It's like I was like thinking, all right, listen, it's like, okay, we got Semien, and then they signed back Panic, and it's like, why'd you even sign Semien if you're just going to sign Panic again, right? Like you could have put that 18 million. You could have. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure with that 18 million that covers the cost of both James Paxton and Corey Kluber this year.
Yeah, something like that.
I think Semien is more than, because I'm pretty sure Paxton's only like 5 or 6 million. I think
You don't want Paxton. You don't want. Paxton.
I mean, it'd be a bit of a flyer, but I mean,
Paxton flyer. That door's shut for me. But
better than Ray, man. It's better than Ray.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Paxton would have
I'd
been one of
rather
those guys that just.
Ray is my other lefty, or no, I'd rather have Paxton as my second lefty than Ray.
Yeah, that's fair. But
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised they got him.
If you're a veteran of this podcast, you know Kevin Biggio makes me so mad because he's just overrated for what he's done in his career at this point. And he's like higher on the top 100 list than he should be, and all this stuff. We've talked about it before. I don't need to get into that. Vladdy Jr. is winning the MVP. I don't give a damn what you say.
We're a Vlad pod.
Young,
Yeah,
thick
Vlad.
Vlad.
Now
He's gonna terrorize my Yankees. It's gonna suck.
oh, you know he's a couple leaders that first series.
Yeah.
Alejandro Kirk's also gonna give me multiple heart attacks as a Yankees fan. It's just a fact. Rakes against the Yankees. Danny Jansen, calm the fuck down. Calm the fuck down.
I knew this was coming.
He hits 100 against other teams, and when he plays the Yankees, he hits 450 and hits nuke after nuke. Stop.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Stop.
It's like Rowdy Tellez from the Sox too.
Chill out. That's all I have to say.
Like Rowdy Tellez in 2020 against the Red Sox, I'm pretty sure it. Yeah, he hit. Article on September 10th. That was 2019. Yeah, he killed the Red Sox in 2019. I guess. Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure like he hit like 280 last year, and I'm pretty sure without the Red Sox, he was only hitting like 230.
Wow.
Something like that. Like he killed the Red Sox last year.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and just in general, I know a lot of people just kind of forgot about Vlad Jr. Just kind of forgot about how young the kid was, and how hyped of a player he was. And this is that kind of year where like you could really think he breaks out this year. Like he had
no, I think so, but I feel like we were mentioning earlier about how you don't want to like overhype people, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like Vlad was really, really overhyped, and I feel like a lot of that just happens to be because of who his father was, right? Like when your father is Vladimir fucking Guerrero, arguably has the ability to put the bat on balls outside the strike zone better than any player in history. That's a lot of pressure. I mean, obviously he doesn't do that the same way, and he's a lot more disciplined hitter and a lot less free swinging. But videos of him like as a prospect when he was like 15, 16, especially because he had that name Vladimir Guerrero attached to him, and their swings are similar. You can't argue their swings look similar. Their follow-throughs they both finish really high, you know what I mean? Like I feel like that altogether put a lot of pressure on him, and that might be part of the reason why he hasn't performed as we've expected so far.
No, definitely. There is a factor with that. And you could just give him some time in the majors, work out his kinks, go back to what used to work for him. I mean, I think Vlad Jr. is one of those guys that, I mean, like the expectations may have been super duper high off the rip.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think what a safe bet of what kind of player he could be is still very good. Like he's like 30, 40 homer kind of power.
Oh, I think more than that. I mean, now maybe
that's just
40.
That's just a set.
Yeah.
I think his raw power is gonna mean so much this year with the dead in baseballs. There's a lot of guys that were just hitting a lot of wall scrapers last year that those balls aren't going to be leaving. But you got to remember that like Vlad hits the balls so fucking hard. It just flies off the bat, man. Like.
Did you go over their outfield real quick?
No, we'll do that now. So outfield, you have 5 outfielders. Jonathan Davis just broke the squad. Randall Grichuk, Lourdes Gurriel, Teoscar Hernandez, George Springer. So really here you have, I mean, you have Jonathan Davis, but I feel like he's kind of the odd man out of these four. You really have three outfielders with, or you have four outfielders with 3 spots. Really, with Randall Grichuk, they don't really want to give up on him just because they're paying him so much. He's one of those guys that almost takes away value in a trade just because they're paying so much for him while he's not really performing that well.
Yeah, I mean, Lourdes Gurriel, Teoscar Hernandez both had amazing years last year.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Teoscar really broke out. I suck with his diamond card in MLB The Show, but his live series card might be my favorite card in the entire game.
I'm good with it, but I don't know. I feel like what you were saying before with Voit this year. I feel the same about Hernandez. I really don't think we're going to see another year because he was on pace last year. He had like 16 home runs, I think 17, something like that.
And then he got injured. Yeah,
he was on pace to like 40 or 50 or something like that. I really don't know if we'll see him hit more than 30 this year, but either way, he's definitely one of the most exciting players. And a lot of people, he has this great power and stuff, and his fielding's bad. So his speed is something that kind of gets underlooked. He's really quick around the bases. So power and speed's always one of those fun combinations, I think.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously with Gurriel, I think you put Gurriel in left. You put possibly, if you want to put all 4 of them, and you're putting Vlad at first, and you're giving Rowdy Tellez or somebody the day off, and he's not DHing. I think you put Randall in right, and you put Teoscar as your DH.
Yeah.
And I think all 4 of us can agree Springer's going to be a center fielder.
Yep, easily. Yep.
You guys have any takes in the outfield? I mean, it's a damn good outfield. It's good.
It is a really good outfield. I like the power that they have from Teoscar and Springer. I'm not sure if Lourdes Gurriel is much of a power hitter compared to those two, but
he's quite as much. I think Gurriel's sort of a 20 to 25 home run year, maybe in a couple good years. But did he bat 300 last year? He either batted 300 or he was damn close last year. Obviously we know it's not the best stat, but yeah, he batted in 2020 he hit 308, which I believe was the highest batting average by a Blue Jay since Lyle Overbay in 2005 or something.
Lyle Overbay, Yankee legend.
Definitely
Yankee
heard
legend.
that name in a long time. Yankee legend.
yeah, you're right. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, he was the Jays first baseman from 2006. Yeah, it was 2006. He hit 312, and then
Jesus,
2000 to 2010. But he was not a typical first baseman. He didn't have a lot of power. It's almost like a John.
Kind of
Olerud.
Yeah, I was just about to say John Olerud. Yeah, and Keith Hernandez, that kind of player.
I think Olerud came to me because lefty and their names start with O. And the Blue Jays.
Scan, is this outfield better than the Yankees outfield?
I think it's an easy no.
Yeah, no, I'm not
I
going
think
to
most
argue
people
that.
can agree with that.
No, I was just trying to fuck with you. But
yeah, I was appalled. He's not being serious, is he?
no.
I think
Scan
It's
just
a good
starts
outfield,
freaking out.
though.
I think it's
Yeah,
might
I
be
mean,
Good
it's
outfield,
the-
though. I like
it's
it.
the second best outfield in this division. It's not close.
Definitely.
possibly the AL. I don't know, but it's up there for sure. I saw there was
No, I
some
could agree
article
with that.
posted by somebody. I think that they rank Blue Jays as the 3rd best offense in baseball, behind obviously the Yankees and the Dodgers.
I wouldn't. I don't know.
I don't know about that one either. I don't know about that one either.
I mean, the White Sox got to be
I
in the
think
discussion.
Yeah,
Twin up
Yeah,
there
as
too.
an entire offense, I don't know about 3, but I
I
could see.
could see 4 or 5.
Yeah, I could see 5, 4, definitely.
I mean, the
could
Angels
see
have to be in the
Sox-
discussion too.
White
Right,
Sox
yeah.
have to be 3. White Sox would have
White
to be
Sox-
3 after the
White Sox-
Yankees and Dodgers.
And then I feel
I
like
think so.
the Angels, the Blue Jays, the Twins, they're all up in the air.
What
I mean,
about
the Braves
Padres,
too.
The Braves and the Astros. I mean,
Oh,
it's
man.
close. I mean,
Offense, too.
It really is. All
right, we should just come to the consensus that the Blue Jays are a top 10 offense.
there we go.
Because obviously we're going to forget what
minimally,
teams.
Yeah. 10 is like a safe number. Like, yeah, they're going to
Yeah.
have a top third
Yeah, no
in the
no
league
question.
offense,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, because like we could just throw out teams like and just like mess around with our top 10 list of offense in the league. Just like
Yeah.
and you didn't even
That's-
mention the Padres.
Oh,
You got
Jesus.
top
Yeah,
10 offense, top 10 offense, bottom
We're-
10 pitching. You're gonna have a middle tier team.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
that's perfect.
we're just over the 2-hour mark. So if no one else,
Whoa.
if anyone doesn't have any, we could easily spend 2 hours on the top 10 offenses in baseball. So let's not get down that road.
I can stay here 2 hours talking about Alejandro.
Exactly. So real quick before we wrap up, we'll go. Obviously, Nolan gave his predictions for the standings. Just to refresh, Nolan said Orioles, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Rays, Yankees.
Yankees. Yep. Yep, that's what he went with.
So, Nick, why don't you go first?
All right, I'll go first. I would say obviously my top team, Yankees, obviously. Second team, it's a hard choice for me between the Rays and the Blue Jays. I love the Blue Jays offense, but the Rays just you can't underestimate the Rays. They just surprise you by every year. So I'd have to go with the Rays second, and plus they just came out of a World Series. Jays third, Red Sox fourth, and obviously Lumpy's Orioles last. I'm sorry, Lumpy, if you're still listening.
Eric, why don't you go ahead?
All right. Like no surprises. Yankees first. Second is really a toss-up between the Jays and the Rays, but as much as it hurts me, I think the realistic shot is the Jays might be third in this division. But I really do think that between the two teams, it's going to be a dogfight back and forth. And it also wouldn't surprise me once again if we had another scenario where it could possibly be the Blue Jays and the Rays in the wild card.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's not definitely not like a common thing. I guess you have both three teams from the same division in the playoffs, but I feel like out of any division, it'd probably be the AL East that could happen.
That's true.
Yep.
And after that, I mean, so Blue Jays third and Red Sox fourth, Orioles fifth. I mean, I feel like we're probably all on the same page about that too. So
Yeah.
I'll go next. I'll let Scan finish us off here. I pretty much, I'm gonna say I want a hot take, but then at the same time I wouldn't agree with it, so I'm just not gonna say anything. Like I gotta go from the bottom. I gotta take the Orioles. I think they're a decent fifth place team, but they're not. They just don't have the pitching. And then I gotta go. I honestly like ceiling for the Blue Jays is fourth, sorry. Ceiling for the Blue Jays is first, but floor for the Blue Jays is four. What am I saying? Ceiling is first place, winning the division. Floor is fourth place, but I'm not going to predict that they're at the floor. So I'll go Red Sox fourth, Blue Jays third, Rays are second. I mean, the Rays could also win the division. Don't sleep on them. Like I said the whole time, they pissed me off. Fuck the Rays, and then of course my Yankees winning the division, probably choking the playoffs.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Total shot up a home run. I think that's
Exactly. What's who's gonna hit the home run off Chapman? It's just pretty much what's the question this year.
You gotta pick some freak name out there.
If Alejandro
Kirk, yes.
home run off Chapman in the ALCS, I don't know what I'll do, but it'll happen crazy.
Yeah.
Scan, take it away.
All right, so I'll start from the bottom and head my way up. I think safe bet for the last place in the division, Orioles. They're just not any sort of competitive state right now. They're turning it around, but I think they're not there right now. I think fourth place, Red Sox. I think it's pretty safe as well. Offense is solid, but the pitching is definitely not there right now. And I mean, even the offense is nice, but not up to par with, say, the Jays. I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say that the Rays get third in the division instead of second. I know we've been saying it's a toss-up between the Jays and the Rays for second and third. And I think that the Rays finished third. I'm on the side of the losses they had this offseason with like Charlie Morton, Blake Snell may prove costly to the Rays, and some of the offensive players that they had. performed late last season may not perform as much. So I think again we could have a scenario where both of them are the wild card teams. So they're that good. But I think the Rays actually are third, in my guess. Then the Jays in second. I think the Jays get off to a great start offensively. They make some moves in the regular season, bolster that pitching staff with some guys maybe, and make a good push. And then I think the Yankees run away with the division on top. Even though things get scary with them, I think they're the favorites and the AL favorites, albeit.
Run away with the division. That is the key word in there. I like it. I
Good
hope
take.
it happens. I hope it happens.
I sure don't. Oh.
If the Yankees stress me out, in July, I'm not having a good time.
It wouldn't surprise me. Sure, it wouldn't.
Have fun in the East, guys. I'll have fun in the Central.
For real.
I got the White Sox to worry about.
Yeah, I'm sure like 78 wins is probably good for second place in that division.
Exactly. But so I think that's going to do it for us, guys, on the Diamond in the Rough podcast. Scan, Eric, thank you guys very much for joining us on this one.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
It was a great time.
So that's going to round out our division series, division prediction series. So make sure you guys check out all those on YouTube or Spotify if you haven't. Of course, remember to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the IR Podcast. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Peace out.